particle theory. I'm not a physicist, but that seems really cool. So if you guys want to follow along, Gary, I've topped in your stream today too. That was cool. Thank you for your writing stream. That's a really cool like co-working environment. I appreciate you. Dude, I did it, my first live ever. I just wanted to see if it was working, and I have, thank you. I did it for like 4 hours. I was going through, because I was showing all the lab leak stuff. I was going through all the publications showing, and now it just pops up within 5 seconds of me putting an article on, and it says you're no longer going to be flagged in the system, and that's it. Gary, you're so silly. You're so silly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. It's really frustrating. I really don't get it. Thank you. Thank you for the follows. Thank you, everyone. Awesome. There's so many people in here already. Thank you so much. So I just want to let's see. I'm learning, guys. I'm learning this. Let's see. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Sheepadoodle. Thank you, Nico. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Please remember, if you're in here, please remember to follow. If you want to support the stream, please subscribe. That's like the number one way that you can support science and elevating the discourse and creating a smarter internet. Whether or not you're liking one time or 1,000, thank you so much. Last stream, guys, it was unbelievable. I was looking at the stats. I didn't realize like what was going on. There was 100,000 likes. I only have 400,000 likes on my entire account, and 100,000 of it was last night. You guys were doing work. Like, it was unbelievable. Thank you so much. You guys were doing it. It is incredible. I was blown away. Thank you. So check my link tree in my bio. That's where all the links are for our Discord, for our community. If you want to submit articles for me to go over, if you want to join a science discussion, if you want to look at my show notes, see where the articles are, primary resources, all that kind of stuff. It's all going to be in the Discord. And then on top of that, on my link tree, I actually have my publications there too. So if you want like primary literature, sorry, Jerry. Yeah, I was lurking. I was in dad mode all day, dude. So I'm sorry, I couldn't chat. But yeah, I was. And then also, if you guys like to take a break, from this stuff, like I have a YouTube archive of all my lives. So if you guys, please take a mental health break. You don't have to be here all the time. Thank you guys. Yeah. So here we go. All right. So first off, guys, this is so cool. This is my first time trying this. This is fresh, guys. This is fresh. So we're going to try. Yeah, I did. I was looking at her knitting stream. That was amazing. Okay, guys. So we're going to try this. I'm going to switch over. Here we go. Different camera angle. Boom. Science article, guys. So brain editing is now closer to a reality. The gene-altering tools tackling deadly disorders. Stunning results in mice herald gene editing advances for neurological diseases. This is straight from nature.com. If you guys want to see the actual article and you want to follow along, check the show notes in the Discord. Scientists are closing in on the ability to apply genome editing to a formidable new target, the human brain. In the past 2 years, a spate of technological advances and promising results in mice have been laying the groundwork for treating devastating brain disorders using techniques derived from CRISPR gene editing. Researchers hope that human trials are just a few years away. The data has never looked so good, says Monica Conrads, the founder and chief executive of the Rett Syndrome Research Trust in Connecticut. This is less and less science fiction and closer to reality. Daunting challenges. Researchers have already developed gene editing therapies to treat diseases of the blood, liver, and eyes. In May, researchers reported a stunning success using a bespoke gene editing therapy to treat a baby boy named Kay. Is that David R. Liu? Anyone? Does anyone know? I think that might be I think that might be the single editing nucleotide career. Anyway, sorry. I love David Arlou so much. I get so excited. But the brain possesses special challenges. The molecular components needed to treat KJ were inserted into fatty particles that naturally accumulate in the liver. Researchers are searching for similar particles that can selectively target the brain, which is surrounded by a defense barrier that can prevent many substances from entering. Although KJ's story was exciting, it was also frustrating for those whose family members have neurological diseases, says Conrad's, whose organization focuses on Rett syndrome, a rare disorder that affects brain development. The question that I hear from our families is, quote, "I was done so quickly for him. It was done so quickly for him. What's taking us so long?" she says. The pool of concerned families is growing as physicians and families increasingly turn to genome sequencing to find the causes of once mysterious brain disorders. See, so we're having sequencing now that are informing us better and what's going on. And there's not an increase of diseases, guys. We're recognizing them for the first time. The pool of concerned families is growing as physicians and families increasingly turn to people are starting to now find out that their child's seizures, for example, are related to particular genetic mutations. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. All right. How cool. So that's our science segment. So we're going to do that every hour. Every hour on the hour, we're going to have a science article. We're going to have, and then we're going to go back to this. We're going to go back to this. We're going to go back right to this. No, we're going to go to this. 1 second. It's still a work in progress, guys. It's a rough draft. We're back. Oh, we're back. Hey, what's up, guys? Awesome. How's everyone doing? Pretty cool. I'm so excited. Figuring it out. Thanks for following. Thanks for all the likes. Thank you for the diamonds and everything, guys. So happy it feels like we are hitting our strides. I feel like we're really getting to something right now in this stream, in this space. I'm so excited. It's so cool. Hey, what's up, bud? How's it going? Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. Thank you, Ducray. Thank you, Sheepadoodle. Thank you, Jen, so much. All right, guys. Do you develop computational models as a microbiologist, and has AI influenced how you approach problems? Man, that's a great question. I have tried to get into more data science and AI as I work, but I'm so like wet lab brained. I'm so just kind of focused on wet lab stuff that it's hard for me to do that. But I would love to. In general. I don't have anything against it, you know? Oh, Dr. T's in the house. What's up? How's it going, everyone? All right. Well, it's open now. If anyone wants to ask me a question or anything like that. Dr. T, I went to your stream today. That was so cool. Saw you knitting. That was very cool. You were talking about how you wanted to show up with a quilt. Like it was a quilt cape you were talking about, a long flowing quilt cape to your students. Anyway, so, all right, guys, this is so cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you. If anyone has any questions or anything, you can jump in. It is open. The lines are open. Or I can just do another science article. What do you guys think? All right. Hello. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Everyone's so excited. It's so cool. Thank you. All right. Let's cook. All right. Let's do it. All right. You want to do another article, guys? Let's see. I got some other ones. Let's see. I do not work with stem cells personally, but I think that they are very cool. Oh, here we go. We'll just do this. Oh, dude. Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys. If you guys want to do a super chat, please subscribe. That's going to run every 15 minutes. I don't want it to be annoying. So let me know if that's too much or what you know what I mean. I don't want the whole stream to be an ad. I hate that. But I do want to let people know that we have cool things that are happening in the stream. So I figure a chat message is a good way to do that. Always welcome and open to suggestions. Okay. Did we read that? I don't think we read this last night. Oh yeah, this is the Archaea one. Let's see. 1 second, guys. Let me ask ChatGPT. Okay. Well, when in doubt, I just go to Nature and look at the news. It's all right. If you guys want to follow along, you're always welcome to follow along in the show notes in the Discord. That's where everything's going to be posted. Whoa. Well, this is interesting. All right. A controversial quantum computing paper gets hefty correction, but concerns linger. How do the super chats work? Dude, so I was thinking like I just read them. Like if I'm talking and there's like a cue or something like that, I like genuinely, guys. I don't mean to be rude about the chats and but it's just like I like to be totally engaged with the person that I'm talking to. So I am like focused and lasered in. But I realize there's like people that want to make a point and they're trying to engage with chat and trying to get me, you know, to ask a question or make a point, and I can't do it. So I was gonna make TTS. You could just put the Venmo is in the in my link tree. But I realize that not everyone wants to come on here to ask that question. So, you know, if you have something you want to say or if you have a question, you know, I think that having like a super chat's a cool idea just to let you interact with the guest. I think the Venmo, you can put it in the description. Jen, I was thinking one at a time, but there's a queue, you know? So that's what I was thinking. Let me know. Or if I missed your super chat, or the Venmo thing, I can just... Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the Venmo text... Oh, sweet. Thanks, Shibadoodle. Thank you. So I want to keep it one at a time, but just allow people to ask a question without hopping into voice. You know what I mean? There was a physician on last night, and she wanted to. Thank you. Why is that happening? I was playing with some of this stuff. I also was playing with these things. I was playing with this stuff. This is pretty funny. These are hilarious. So I don't know, guys. I'm just figuring this stuff out. You know what I mean? So I thought it was funny, but I don't know, guys. I'm learning this stuff. I'm like a total boomer in the TikTok filters. I've not played BioShock. Okay. Here we go. We can read this one. Oh, really? Oh, that's funny. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Anna. All right. The journal Science has lifted an expression of concern on a paper claiming evidence of Majorana quasi-particles and added new details. What? I don't even know what that is, guys. I've only done physics like since high school. You know, this is like we're learning together here. I have no idea. Okay, a key study claiming to provide evidence of Majorana quasi-particles, I have no idea what that is, has received an extensive correction 5 years after it was published in the journal Science. That's like the premier American research. It is the best American paper, and also like one of the top 3 in the world. So there's Cell, Nature, Science, CNS that people call them, and that it's incredible. So if you get published in Science, it could make your entire career as a scientist. So to have like you make it into Science and then have them put something in there that is taking it back, saying that it's not real, that would be devastating. That would be devastating. Oh, Nico, what's up, dude? What's up, Nico? How's it going, man?
Oh man, I didn't want to interrupt the paper. I was gonna
It's
get
okay.
in queue. I wanted to ask you about this. So I was once at a tech startup and we interviewed a microbiologist,
Mhm.
and someone told me, "Hey, she's controversial," and I googled her, and she had a science paper that was redacted or retracted, and she was claiming that bacteria could use arsenic instead of. Have you heard of Felicia Wolf Simon?
Dude, I heard about this. I heard
Yeah,
about the arsenic paper. That's crazy.
yeah, and and the thing is, like, I asked her about it, and she had a really good answer where she said, "I
Oh,
did really good work." She was an astrobiologist. She said, I did good work,
mhm.
and it was ambitious. Maybe my conclusions were a little bit bold, but that's what you need for a science paper." And the whole community just kind of turned on her and called her a grifter or like
Damn,
a
dude, this
scam
is
artist.
this is it. So this is just published July 24th, 2025.
Yeah,
15 years later, Science retracts arsenic life paper despite study authors'
yeah.
protests. Belated decision on widely disputed 2010 study pleases some critics but puzzles and dismays others. Just the first paragraph. The claim was striking, the criticisms ferocious. A 2010 science paper reported that a microbe found in the inhospitable waters of Mono Lake, California, could, unlike other forms of life, use arsenic to grow. But the journal has retracted the work, but instead of closing the books on one of its most infamous papers, the decision has stirred the old controversy and sparked new debate on when the scientific record should be formally corrected. So that is really tough. Several
Yeah,
long
so I
studied
interviewed her.
one second, just this part.
Yeah.
Several longstanding critics of the research applaud the retraction. The move signals to readers that the paper is, quote, seriously flawed, end quote. University of California, Los Angeles geneticist writes in an email. That's tough, man. That's a really tough thing. I would, that's tough. How long is it okay to retract, I guess is the question.
Well, the thing is, it was like really controversial when it came out. And then the New York Times, so I met her a couple years ago. The New York Times recently did an article on her.
Mm-hmm.
And then a week later, Science retracts the paper,
Oh,
right?
wow.
And she was on, this was like a little bit of a LinkedIn beef where she's like, "Hey guys, this is a hit piece. I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm a
Yeah.
legit scientist." And it was really difficult because what she was explaining to me is she did some work at NASA, right?
Uh-huh.
And it ruined her career. Like, she published the science paper, and it just kind of like was this mark on her career that
It's awful.
yeah, but it was like scientists kind of like turned on her. So it's this really interesting thing where like science is this amazing platform, but I guess it's a double-edged sword maybe, but
It's brutal, man. I mean, it is brutal. That's why conspiracy theorists don't last, because they just literally cannot stand that heat. They really can't. It's not the amount of science we're talking about. Sorry, we're talking about Science Mag. So Science Mag
yeah.
is the publication. The institution, obviously is separate, but Science Mag is incredibly world renowned. I mean, it is literally the biggest thing, but science as an institution is incredibly difficult, and Science Mag is even worse. I mean, you literally are kind of renowned for doing a study with Science Mag, and then they will hit you with, okay, now do another study basically to show that that No, yeah, that's me. That was all me. Thank you. I picked it out all myself. Thank you. Um, so it's brutal, man. It is brutal. Science as an institution is very hard. But it's the peer review process is very difficult. And even if the peer reviewers, the 3 that you get assigned, they, you don't, the court of public opinion still exists, which is what happened here.
Do you have a beef with the peer review process?
I've heard about some ways to have improve it. It is tough. I mean, I've had some reviewers, like we had a Nature Nanotechnology paper, and one reviewer was talking about how this shouldn't be published because there's not enough biology and too much nanotechnology. And then the next reviewer was like, this shouldn't be published because there's too much biology, not enough nanotechnology. And you're just like copy and pasting what the other reviewer says to the other one. And you're like, we're trying to meet you in the middle here. And then the editor kind of like comes in and makes the final call and be like, okay, well, you just, address the concerns. And it is tough. It is tough. There's some crowdsourcing, open sourced ideas where you can kind of like have an open period where people have like an open comment period where you make a criticism and people can upvote, downvote, have like a side panel conversation. People are trying different aspects, different ideas on try to improve the peer review process. But at the end of the day, man, there isn't that many world experts in these subjects.
Yeah.
And this is also why like the conspiracy theories work so well, because as you go higher and higher in science fields, like there's not that many labs. So
I read a piece in Science in December of last year, which said that it plotted the number of retractions over time,
yeah,
and they've been going up.
that
And
makes sense.
and it was saying like, is it that the peer reviewing process is getting bad? Is it that science is getting so competitive now that this author was saying maybe scientists are like cherry picking data a little bit more, like at the graduate student level, and it's like making it through. But it was essentially presenting a lot of mechanisms as to why retractions are going up. I also think maybe there's a lot of grad students now more than ever, right? But it was like a really interesting paper because I think there are cases where people fake data. I think those are really rare because that's like a really big stain.
Let me check sheet.
That's definitely like the worst thing you could do in science. But I think I have seen cherry picking before myself, and I think it's just a natural bias that people have, right?
I did. Thank you. Tests. Cool. Dude, the first super chat came in. Test. Hello world. We got a hello world super chat. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you, Sheep. Yeah, dude. Cool. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, Sheep. There's a lot of different ways in order to verify something now. There's a lot of different ways of retesting something, and lots of different ways you can verify something. So especially when it's like data science related and stuff, you really have to publish all your code. You gotta the science, your data, it has to be published. I'm a huge fan of open science in general. Like I think that honestly papers should be publishing. There's Jen. Yeah, look at that. Boom. Look at that sub icon. There you go. I like the idea of publishing the notebook as well on top of it. I know it's really arduous and it sucks, but I think that the raw data should be there. I know Dr. T, can you imagine though having to publish your lab notebook with it? It would be very tough, but you do have things like the Alzheimer's stuff where you have 20 years of research that has been completely stymied because the Western blot images, they literally went to Photoshop and they just copied and pasted bands where they thought that they should be, and people found out they they found out that it's completely faked, and it's just insane. So I feel like you have to do something to make, honestly, especially if it's data science, you have to publish the code, because that's the only way to actually make sure you can verify it. You have to be able to, like, maybe have a Docker image or something that people can download. So then it's like all the data, all your plugins, everything is right there. And then you just go. I'm sorry, Murphy, I didn't see your thing, your question.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like the patenting process in
Mhm.
2012 transitioned from a first to invent to a first to file system.
Yeah.
And when it was a first to invent, the lab notebook was like a legal document, right? So it was
Yeah.
like a lot of companies really forced very meticulous work, and you needed to have a witness sign off on it at the end of your workday. So it was it felt like there was a lot more kind of like integrity with that.
Yeah.
And then after that kind of dropped off, I started seeing lab notebooks become optional. And now I see them completely digital, which is has pros and cons. But yeah, anyways, man. Yeah, good to hear from you. Good to see you. Good, glad you jumped on. And
Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
just wanted to kind of throw that in there.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thanks for getting on, dude. Always
Sure.
good talking to you.
Likewise.
All
Talk
right,
to you
have a good
soon.
night, man.
You too.
All right. Give it up. Give it up for Nico, everyone. Give it up. Boom. We got sound effects, guys. We're going. We're doing it. We're doing it. Big fan of the stream, Nico, everyone. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. All right. I'm trying to like figure out how to get my screen to go off. But anyway, let's figure out how. Let's go. Oh, Nico, I know. We're trying, man. We're trying. We're trying here. Having fun with it. I'm having fun with it. I'm feeling myself more here. You know what I mean? We've done today. It's like it's a full week of streaming every day, and I'm getting my groove. I'm getting my feeling like I'm expressing myself more in this space and getting more comfortable. So it's been really fun. I really appreciate it. So yeah, guys, we're doing it. We're doing it. My link tree is in my profile. It should be at the top of my profile thing. Let's see. I'm a microbiologist PhD. I normally do molecular biology is usually what that's what I do. There's no link tree. Let's see here, guys. Sorry, 1 second. I will answer chat. 1 second. Where did you work? I worked at BASF. So we were a German company that had a US. Oh, that's so weird. That's boom. The So yeah, basically we were I'm not selling anything, man. We're having a good time. So basically BASF is a German company. We had a US site that did enzymes there, and basically we were creating products and yeah, dude, yeah. And they employed about 50 people in San Diego, and we had our patents, and we had basically we had enzymes. It's a chemistry company, so they had enzymes that they wanted to explore and find in biology that helped their chemical reactions. So there was, and I was a part of the making strains in order to facilitate and help that product. So there was, pharmaceuticals that were made from those strains, that kind of stuff. And basically, Tavlord, I see it. Just give me a second. The problem is that when Trump did the tariffs, basically we were hit by the tariffs, because now our labor is connected to that, and they had to ship materials in from Germany in order to do the plant work here, in order to make the chemicals here, because we had a strain, right, that I created, but then we had to go to a plant in Michigan. Plant in Michigan had to create things, and so we were impacted by that. And on top of that, when he stopped all the science spending from all the agencies, basically we had a bioservices side of the business that we didn't have any customers anymore. So the places that we sold our services to stopped buying them. So that was it. That was the problem. All right, next guest, Tavlord. Welcome in, dude. Welcome in. How's it going?
Hello, how are you, sir?
Good, man.
I just had a question about how
Mhm.
you go about your business as a microbiologist.
Okay.
I know in clinical microbiology, you can determine the presence or absence of a particular bacteria in a sample by measuring the colony-forming units on a
Okay.
petri dish.
Yeah.
I was wondering if
CFUs.
you use that similar unit in your work in research as opposed to clinical work.
So
Yeah.
basically I'm genetically modifying them, so what happens is, so colony forming units is, for chat, it's basically, you have millions of cells that are in a liquid broth, but then when you plate them, basically only a certain percentage of them are actually going to be able to plate, are actually going to be robust enough in order to grow on solid agar, and basically go through that change. And in biology and molecular biology specifically, what we do is we try to select for cells that only have the genetic changes that we want. So, for example, if I have inserted a piece of DNA into an organism, well, I only want to select for the cells that have that integrated piece of DNA. So, how do what would I do? Well, it would be really easy to select for those cells if I inserted a resistance cassette, right? Where it's a antibacterial thing where it's going to kill all the bacteria except for the ones that have this gene that creates this protein that creates the defense mechanism for the antibiotic in the agar. So it's like basically fundamental to molecular biology to do this. We grow that in liquid culture. We grow them to a point where they're in a healthy, exponentially growing part of the stage. It's called log phase. When a bacteria first gets into a media, it's called the lag phase, and then it starts accumulating more nutrients. It starts growing more rapidly, and just as it's coming up at exponential growth, boom, that's when we put DNA into the cell, and then basically we plate those, and we'll plate maybe, millions and millions, hundreds of millions, and then maybe 1,000 will be able to actually plate, and we'll see colonies form. So then we count the colonies, and then we figure out how much DNA that we started with, and then that is with the dilution factor and how much we plated. Basically, we're able to surmise transformation efficiency. So that is it's integral, like with what we're doing. It's a screening process. So yeah, there's like the clinical microbiology that is looking for kind of like a kill curve and that kind of stuff. But in my work, I like to genetically modify things, and I like to use that selection media as a way to screen for those mutations that I want.
Interesting. So it sounds like you do use this unit, the colony-forming unit.
Mm-hmm.
to measure. Yeah, I've heard that the CFU undercounts the presence of bacteria in the sample because you're only looking at the bacteria in a particular group, which is the forming unit, whereas there might be solitary bacteria outside of it that are still living but just didn't form a colony. Is that true?
Exactly. That's what I was talking about at the beginning, where you'll have ones that are good, but they're just not in the state that is ready enough in order to, be able to withstand that type of medium change, because it is pretty difficult to go through.
So I was wondering, it's in clinical work you tend to just leave those out because you're using the CFU to determine as a threshold for significance for treating an infection, and you just tend to leave those. But I'm wondering, maybe on the research side, you want to quantify those ones that are outside the typical CFU measurement if you're looking for like genetic changes or something. I don't know. Maybe you have to be more precise.
Dude, this is a great question. So this is what a hemocytometer is for. So a hemocytometer is a way that you put, it's a special slide that has a grid pattern. And basically you count the cells that are inside that grid. And then again, the dilution factor, how much volume is in there. And then when you count the cells, then you're able to kind of back calculate and to see how many cells per mil there was. And then on top of that, what you do is that you do a dilution gradient. So that you do 1 to 10, 1 to 10, 1 to 10, like 4 or 5 times. And then that gets, hey, Rocky, thanks for coming in, dude. That you compare those. You compare the cells per mil to the plated CFU, and boom, that's how you do it. You can do indirect measurements to surmise that. Once you've done that work, and those are direct measurements for how to know how many cells per mil there is, but there's indirect measurements as well. So there's a spectrophotometer approach. So spectrophotometer is a way that you can actually figure out that, hey, we have a cell wall that has a certain nanometer of those bonds, and then you basically try to excite those specifically. So 600 nanometers is what we do for yeast, and then you can actually indirectly back calculate based off of that how many cells per mil you have. But it's very hard. You have to do the work that you were talking about before. You can't just like go right to it because everything is a little bit different.
That's completely fascinating. So thank you. You've given me a new topic to look up, this hemocytometry.
Cool.
Thank you. Cytometry in general is like sci-fi. It's something that would be on the Enterprise, and like what is it? There's the liquid chromatography, and then there's a way that you go cell by cell, and the fluorescence chromatography. I think it's extremely
dude. There's a cell sorter is basically does a lot of that stuff. So the cell sorting will put a tube of single cells and look at each one of them and see whether or not they have a specific fluorescent wavelength of like a protein that you need. And then it'll put it into a tube. If it doesn't have the tube, it doesn't have the fluorescence, it'll put it in a separate tube. So it'll sort one by one, and you literally have just a collection of only the ones that you want that show up with the cell sorting. It's incredible. I mean, microscopy has taken off in an incredible way recently. I did a lot of microscopy work with my PhD work, and it's amazing. The confocal microscopy and stuff is so cool. So confocal microscopy is kind of like the same technology that they use in order to do laser cuts in your eye, where it'll have a wavelength, but it'll not have enough energy until they both collide, and then you'll be able to see kind of like a wavelength excitation, but only for like a micron or 2 microns wide. So you can actually like 2 microns at a level just slice through an organism, and you can see exactly where the proteins are, exactly where the dye is. I did it for my carbon nanotubes because I had dye on the DNA. And then I wanted to see if it was actually inside the chloroplast. And well, the chloroplast has these things called a chlorophyll, and those are basically the solar voltaics of the where they can actually bring in a bunch of the energy. So the idea is, let's excite that chlorophyll, right? Let's excite that so we know that it's in the chloroplast. And then it's like specifically, because with the confocal microscopy, you can hit exact wavelengths, like we're talking to the nanometer. So excite the chlorophyll specifically, and excite the dye specifically, and then see where they are if they're in the same spot. And then that's a bunch of data analysis that you need to do to see how many pixels are overlapping where and what in the 3D plane and all that kind of stuff. But that's how you do co-localization analysis. So what's really cool is the cell sorter that we were talking about that you were mentioning before. They can do that now. So they can do confocal microscopy with cell sorting. It's so cool, man. It's just taken off in a way that it's so fun.
Well, you've given me two things: confocal microscopy and hemocytometry. I'm going to go read about those.
Nice, dude. How
Thank you
fun.
very much.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Awesome. Cool. Have a good night.
You too, sir. Bye-bye.
That's cool, dude. I did. Yeah. ImageJ is what we used. Yeah. ImageJ is, Fiji, but Fiji is just ImageJ, which is the joke. But, Fiji has all the plugins and stuff for ImageJ, and it's cool to use that and see that. Thank you guys. Thanks for coming in. So yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. Infrared. Yeah, I had to use a lot of infrared for my for the carbon nanotube stuff, and ultraviolet, because that's hello. What is this? Let's see. Does this work? Oh, it said say welcome to stream, but no, it's not working. Oh, nice, dude. Yeah, the custom ability of ImageJ is really cool. Okay. Oh yeah, dude, Rocky's here all the time. He's such a nerd. It's so cool. I think we're converting him, guys. He tries to hate watch, but he's actually here more than anyone else. I can see the stats. I can see his watch statistics. He's here all the time. So I appreciate Rocky a lot. Oh, dude, will we see any gains against citrus greening from the Asian? Oh man, that is a really good question. That's really tough. That's a really tough question. You really have to do gene therapy. You really have to go against it. It's a huge problem. The citrus blight and that what you're talking about, it significantly impacts a lot of citrus in the United States. And it's getting to a lot of Florida, and so that's just really bad. All right, next guest, George, accepted. Brittany, oh my gosh, Brittany's here. Oh, I'm so excited Brittany's here. Hello. George, I hit okay. I hit accept. I'm waiting for you on your side. Okay. Nice. I guess we wait. How are my allergies? Good. My wife tested positive for strep throat 2 days ago. So I am riding it out. I am riding it out, as they say. So with the topic, we just went through 2 science articles, and then we're going to be doing another science article read. No, they just dropped. And then we're going to do another article read in 12 minutes. And we do a science article every hour on the hour. So if you want that there, but then right now we're in the question and answer portion. So if you want to ask me a question, you have any questions about science, go ahead, jump in, guys. If you want to join our Discord, we have that's where you can submit articles. That's where we have my show notes, my primary resources, everything like that. Just shout out to the top gifters. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Sheepdoodle. Thank you, Ducray. And then please remember to follow the stream. Thank you. The biggest thing that you can do to help the stream is with the subscribe. And thank you for 1 like or 1,000 likes. Thank you for doing and hitting that screen. I appreciate you. My link tree in the bio and in the pinned comment is where you can find $5 super chats if you want to ask a question directly and have it read on stream. And then there's also the YouTube live archive. So if you want to take a mental health break and get away from the app, you can, and still watch the stream. And I'll upload it in full there. And then also there's a list of all my publications with PDFs, so you can follow along there. Hi Jen, how's it going? Are you going to do any social hour lectures here in San Diego? I do live in San Diego. I don't have any plans for social hours. If I'd be down though, honestly, if you guys wanted to do something, honestly, that would be freaking rad. I never even thought about doing that, but an on location live stream, that would actually be pretty cool. All right. Thank you, that girl. I try. Science sold out. No informed consent possible as vax inserts blank. Okay, Marco, if you have any questions, bro, jump on. I can help you out, or not. Whatever you want. A lot of anti-vax people live in fear, so I can understand why you be fearful. So it's all good. It's all good, guys. All right. So cool. Can I add a PayPal link to the link tree? Yeah, I can do that. I can't really, I tried to get my PayPal business account going. Venmo is GNWK. It's in my, it's in the link tree. Oh no, sorry. Venmo is at Dr. Nanotube. Same as my my thing. I'm not against using PayPal though. Thank you, Jen. Thank you guys. Thanks for supporting the stream. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. So, how's everyone doing? Tap, tap, tap. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you for 1 like or 1,000, whatever it is. You guys did absolutely killer last time. It was insane. My entire account has 400,000 likes, and you guys did 100,000 last time. It was wild. It was absolutely wild. So I thank you so much. Can you talk about how vaccines don't have long-term effects? They have. That's wrong. They have tons of long-term effects, and they're only good. They are only good. But the side effects of them are, would be temporal, right? So this is Guillain-Barré's disease, which is a really rare thing that happens, and we don't know it. I know, Ducray, I'm just joking. And they have we know about it, we study it, but the chemicals inside of a vaccine just aren't going to have like a long-term thing. They just don't have a long-term impact. All the thank you for saying that, Maiden. Appreciate you. Oh, no way. Oh, thank you guys. All right. Yeah. Kennedy's case against mRNA vaccines collapses under his own evidence. All right. Let's check it out, Jen. Yeah. Thank you. Dude, how cool. I love this. Thank you guys. I love that. And the URL worked too. That's perfect. All right. Perfect. Oh, this is so cool, guys. I love it. Thank you for support. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. I really did get laid off this week, so it really does help. And you guys are just so kind with everything, and I really appreciate you. Okay. This is Jen's super chat. Thank you, Jen. Kennedy's case against mRNA vaccine collapses under his own evidence. This is from Stat News. It's in the show notes in the Discord. If you want to follow along, it's there. Join the Discord. Imagine a whole group of people that love science and like talking about science in Discord. It's really cool. It's really fun. Okay. JFK Jr.'s evidence doesn't support ending the research. It makes the case for expanding it. So this is an opinion piece out of Stat News by Jake Scott. And Jake Scott is an infectious disease physician. So this is going to be a good person to listen to, right? So when Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. terminated $500 million in federal funding for the mRNA vaccine research last week, claiming he had reviewed the science, his press release linked to a 181-page document as justification. So just to let you know, like this is the type of stuff like that $500 million that he's seizing there, that's impacting all the research that's being done currently, but then also think about all the companies that are using that money now, right? So you have all the oligosynthesis, the primer synthesis, the kits that they need to use, all that kind of stuff. So that's how I got wrapped up in this, right? It's the secondary impact. They are taking out the federal funds, but then downstream of that are private companies, American jobs, American manufacturing, American patents, and they're taking it. And it's awful. So back to the article. I reviewed Kennedy's quote unquote evidence, and it doesn't support ending mRNA vaccine development. It makes the case for expanding it. And you know what? This actually happens a lot. Genuinely, the number one thing that conspiracy theorists do not want you to do is to actually read the things that they link you. Because if you do, there are so many papers that they link, and you look and you read, and it's just a complete misattribution where they are taking one sentence and they're spinning it. And the author would be like, no, I did not say that. I would never have said that. But they take it and they link a DOI number, and people kind of take their word as evidence. And it's awful. So this document isn't a government analysis or a systemic review. It's a bibliography assembled by outside authors that, according to his own title page, quote, originated with contributions to toxic shot facing the dangers of the COVID vaccines. What? So it's an ideological, this is crazy. So it's just an ideological organization. It's insane. The lead compiler is a dentist, not an immunologist, virologist, or vaccine expert. That is crazy. Exactly. I love that, Dr. T. It is. Nice reference. That's sick. I'm with you. I love Drag Race. I watched Drag Race from season 4 all the way on. Incredible show. The most important show that's ever been in the existence of the world. I really do feel like that. Okay. Anyway, sorry. NIH director has suggested that the funding has terminated due to lack of public trust in mRNA vaccines. I wonder why. Like maybe if you sow discord enough in a technology, people are going to start wondering and have suspicion. I mean, come on. But misrepresenting evidence to justify policy decisions is precisely what erodes public trust. Exactly. If we want to restore confidence in public health, we need to start by accurately representing what the science actually says. So true. This author is spot on. Here's what Kennedy apparently missed. Most of the compiled papers are in vitro studies, laboratory experiments in test tubes or petri dishes. So in vitro, outside. They've taken something outside and they're doing DNA work or RNA work outside, as opposed to in situ. In situ is where it is as it is. So in vitro, taking it out in parts, in situ, inside the car. So think about like how different you had a new part for an engine in a car. Imagine if you took the entire car apart and the engine apart and then said, oh yeah, my part screws in really well. In vivo is inside the living so in vitro is outside, in vivo is inside, and then in situ is inside where it is. So those are the three difference. So you can actually have something in vivo, but that's still been sequestered in some way, if that makes any sense. Okay, so documenting effects of SARS-CoV-2 spike protein, not vaccination. These laboratory experiments, while limited... Oh my gosh, it's saying I'm inactive, guys. I'm not moving around enough. Sometimes TikTok's algorithm is wild, man. I don't get it. It's saying I have an inactive live. Okay. These laboratory experiments, while limited in their clinical relevance and unable to establish causation, consistently show harmful effects from the spike protein produced during infection. The implicit message throughout: infection produces spike protein that can cause harm. Therefore, vaccination, which produces controlled amounts of spike without the virus making copies of itself, makes sense. Some of the papers included in the bibliography are even explicit about this. One examining neurological effects concludes that, quote, the benefits of COVID-19 vaccinations far outweigh the risk of the neurological complications. Exactly. They're being misattributed. I would be so mad. I would be so mad if I was this article. I was this guy, because it's just like, I did not sign up for this. Another review in the packet directly compares infection with vaccination and concludes vaccination is the more favorable option for protection. Kennedy is literally citing evidence that contradicts his position. Man, I've seen this with climate science too. I've seen this with things anti-science people they'll cherry pick data from a paper and they'll take specific points out, ignore all the other points, and then make another graph that only has the cherry pick data that they want to show. It's absolutely unbelievable. The document's methodology reveals how this happened. The authors of the compilation acknowledge that, quote, most in vitro studies here used recombinant spike proteins or spike proteins in pseudoviral vectors, not actual vaccines. They grabbed papers using any mention of spike protein, whether from infection or vaccination, and presented them as evidence against vaccines. The apparent deception runs deeper. Multiple cited studies injected spike protein or mRNA intravenously into mice, inducing myocarditis or even directly into brain tissue, routes obviously never used in human vaccination. Vaccines are injected into muscle tissue. I see you, Liam. We're just going to go do this packet for this article first. The packet includes studies with hippocampal injection of spike, brain infusion in mice, and injection into the cerebrospinal fluid. While these experiments help identify theoretical hazards, they reveal nothing about the real-world risks from the intended intramuscular injection in humans. When it isn't misreading studies' conclusions, the compilation uses them in an intellectually dishonest way. For instance, it misleads about how long spike protein stays in the body. It cites studies showing spike protein from SARS-CoV-2 infection lasting months, driven by the virus continually making copies of itself, to suggest vaccine spike persists similarly, which isn't true. The mRNA breaks down by then, guys. But vaccine spike typically clears within 2 weeks. Exactly. The author is right on here, because there's no replicating virus. That the viral load of an mRNA vaccine is only going to be the amount that the RNA is injected into, right? So it can't self-replicate. Those who assembled the document know this distinction, but obscure it. They're lying through obfuscation, right? The safety. One second, sorry. All right. The safety distortions are egregious. Quote, the document highlights anaphylaxis rates as high as 1 in 2,280 doses from selective studies, while systematic CDC surveillance estimates 4.5 per million doses, 400 times lower. Let's read that one more time. The document highlights anaphylactic rates as high as 1 in 2,000 doses from selective studies, while systemic CDC surveillance estimates 4.5 per million doses, 400 times. So they're off by 2.5 orders of magnitude. That is insane. That is insane. They emphasize myocarditis in young males, which peaked at about 100 per million among males ages 16 to 17 after the second dose, without mentioning that SARS-CoV-2 infection causes myocarditis at higher rates with worse outcomes, or that rates have since dropped to background levels. Most damning is what's absent. The compilation ignores the Danish nationwide study of approximately 1 million JN1 booster recipients that found no increased risk for 29 specific conditions. It omits the global vaccine data network analysis of 99 million vaccinated across multiple countries, finding no new or hidden safety signals. It excludes CDC data showing that unvaccinated had a 53-fold higher rate of death during Delta, demonstrating the critical importance of mRNA vaccinations. The Commonwealth Fund estimates COVID vaccines prevented approximately 3.2 million US deaths through 2022. That is unbelievable. 2.2 million. And we already had 1.2 million people that died. So that is absolutely incredible. And honestly, that just goes to show that what he was saying on RFK's little thing, and I did a video on it, it's pinned on my profile, but he was saying that the vaccine becomes ineffective if a single virus mutation happens. And it's obviously not the case, right? It saved 3.2 million lives. The papers themselves often contradict the compilation's framing. Multiple studies state we cannot infer any causality from their findings. The document's own sources describe challenges as surmountable, not fatal flaws. Yet Kennedy presents these tentative findings, which the authors themselves call preliminary, as definitive evidence requiring immediate actions. Beyond COVID vaccines, Kennedy's decision undermines pandemic preparedness. The 22 terminated projects worth $500 million represent the expensive late-stage development that BARDA uniquely funds, phase 3 trials, manufacturing scale-up, and strategic stockpiling that private companies can't afford. Kennedy promises, quote, safer, broader, and whole virus vaccines, end quote, as alternatives, apparently unaware that these take 6 months minimum to update versus weeks for mRNA. When the next pandemic virus emerges, those extra months will translate directly into preventable deaths. I've analyzed COVID vaccine safety data extensively since 2020. There are real discussions to have about rare side effects, risk communication, and policy trade-offs, but those require honest representation of evidence. What Kennedy has done is different. Most papers in the compilation found infection-related harms, evidence that actually supports vaccination, yet he is wielding it against vaccines. He's citing sources that explicitly support vaccination while claiming they oppose it. He's not expecting anyone to actually do their due diligence and actually look these up. Let's be real. He's just saying, I have 100 papers that say this, and he's expecting people to blindly support him. This isn't scientific disagreement. It's either staggering incompetence or willful misrepresentation. When $500 million decisions affecting pandemic preparedness rest on such foundations, the scientific community must respond clearly. Kennedy is using evidence that refutes his own position to justify dismantling tools we've desperately needed when the next pandemic arises. All right. Thank you, Jen, for the super chat. Thank you for recommending the article. I actually have another op-ed editorial talking about this that we're going to go over soon. But thank you. I appreciate you. So we got Liam and Rocky coming up next. So let's bring Liam in. Liam, what's up, man? How's it going?
Good, dude.
Long time no talk.
Yeah, right. It's been a little bit. I've stopped by your live a little bit. You've been busy.
Nice.
You've had some guests.
Yeah, man. It's been fun.
Do you know what VICP is?
VICP.
Can
No.
you look up the largest payout for VICP?
The Vaccine Injury Compensation Program.
Largest payout.
Okay, largest payout. Okay, so it's some blog that's coming up. This is I'm a little concerned. The largest payout in vaccine injury compensation program is $100 million. This is from the AI, according to MCT Law.
Okay, how much is that payout for?
$100 million.
What does it say?
The settlement was awarded to an infant who suffered severe reaction to the MMR vaccine. The money has to be paid out over the infant's lifetime.
Measles, mumps. So you believe in the measles and mumps and all that vaccine, right?
Yeah,
you probably gave it to your own child, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Do you know what technology that is, though?
Do you see that someone had an injury for the rest of their life because they got this, and they got a settlement of how much money for it?
$100 million.
So it's not completely safe, right? Is that what we're gathering?
Yeah, nobody's saying that vaccines are 100% safe. Nobody said that.
Oh, okay. There we go. Never heard this from you before, that they're 100% safe.
What? That's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true at all. You should stick around and watch a little longer, bro. I mean, obviously, there are like vaccine injuries. We use and study them. Guillain-Barré is something that we found through science. So it's obviously
I'm still kind of dead set, honestly, Greg, on the whole you, Liam, are part of the cause of unaliving millions of people because of people like you.
You contributed, dude. You did.
C19,
you did.
It's despicable. But what I'm getting at is this is education on your side and love, and you have a duty to do the research, okay,
Yeah.
with the knowledge that you've been given, okay? And you're supposed to give this to people in humility and love, and then they're supposed to, but it should be like, hey, this is what I recommend, but you are free to choose in this country, and you do whatever you want to do with this. And there's no shade being thrown either way, okay? But when you're up here saying that you are one of the major deciding factors whether people live or die because of your bad choices that you're making, not fair, bro, at all. Still not fair.
Dude, you're contributing to it, absolutely. And you're pushing misinformation right now. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So
wait, just to wait. You have to allow me to respond, bro. What kind of vaccine technology was that one that the MMR vaccine?
The one that we were just speaking on for the measles and mumps. I don't remember.
I can tell
you. Go ahead. Sure.
It's not the mRNA one that they're defunding.
I know that. I'm sure that it's not. Yeah.
So does that make any difference?
You think that I think that they're the same? No, I don't believe that they are. No.
Okay, so then does that make you that? For me, that means that there was probably some type of egregious error in some like a QC error or something like that, because that is a super safe vaccine that normally should be super safe, and there's probably an egregious error that happened in order to have that happen, especially with a payout like that.
You don't believe that everyone's body makeup is the same, do you? And we all have the same reactions to vaccines. You think you think the human body
overwhelming majority do. Yes, you can make vast generalizations and say yes, it's safe and effective. Yes, you can absolutely say that.
That's nowhere near true.
Yeah, vaccines are safe and effective. I can say that 100%.
There are stuff that certain people with certain blood types or whatever put in their body, and they don't even have a reaction to it. Okay, penicillin for one. Okay, there's some people that take it, it won't even bother them. Other people can't even take it.
There's some people that die from allergic reaction to Tylenol every year, but that doesn't mean that Tylenol is deadly. Would you agree that Tylenol isn't deadly?
Maybe with certain amounts of it, yeah, you have to take it.
Nope, just a normal dosage. People die every year. So would you say that Tylenol is a deadly drug?
The medical field is telling them to sell it off the shelves, that it's safe for everyone, or what?
You're saying a 1 in a million event defines the entire thing, and it's not even 1 in a million. It's like 1 in a billion. Yeah,
No,
you're
I'm
saying
not.
that
No,
because
no,
of
I'm
one
not.
in a billion event, therefore the entire thing has to be castigated, and the entire program has to be in doubt now. So you have to say the same thing for water. People die every year from water. Would you say that it's not healthy and safe in order to drink water?
Yeah, if I think that you need to be educated on it,
You
you
need to
need
be
to talk.
healthy. You need to be educated to drink water.
Yeah, dude.
Oh
Like
my
just
God, bro. Are you
so wait, you
serious?
think that wait a minute, you think that the water that's being pushed through a tap in somebody's home is
No, that's
just
not what we're talking
perfect
about.
to
Fluoride is
drink?
completely safe, by the way, and it absolutely is. I'm talking about people that over drink water and like water chugging contests and actually die from overconsumption of water. I'm not talking about fluoride.
That's just one's own stupidity. Okay, what are we
Okay,
talking
but no,
about?
what you're exactly. So it's one company's stupidity and their stupid MMR like preparation, and now all of vaccines have to be under under criticism. I mean, no, that's not how it works.
Absolutely, absolutely, they do.
No,
Yes,
no,
hundred
no, that's not how
percent.
it works, dude. That's gross negligence isn't a way to impugn the entire system. That is why you have these payouts that are so egregious, because they should have been picked up with QC. They should have been there should have been multiple spots where they were picked up and they weren't. And that is gross negligence, and that's why these payouts are so big.
If I went to my family doctor and said, "My child, Greg, my child has chicken pox," or no, not my child. My brother's child has chicken pox, and I need to have my child around that child. What should I do? Is it safe for my child to be around another child with chicken pox? What do you think the doctor would actually say?
I mean, you're saying that you're harking
What?
back to
Come
some
on, dude.
crazy, like
Answer
when
my
you were a
question.
kid and you were
Answer
saying,
my
oh, we used to
question.
have chicken pox parties and used to get it done and all that
Oh,
kind of
look
stuff.
at you. You're
Yeah.
deflecting from reality.
No, I'm
Okay,
not.
listen.
I know exactly
Yes,
what you're
you
talking
are.
about. I know what you're talking
We have
about.
an immune we have an immune system that is being broken down by Z-packs,
Oh my God.
unhealthy living,
Oh my
all
God.
kinds of BS that we're putting in our systems. Okay, shitty environment, shitty food. Okay, and we're
No.
trying to push the pharmaceutical stuff down our throats. Okay, we take one, and then we need six more to compound the issues of that one that we take. Okay, that's what's going on, man. It's
No.
a money business. It's a money
You're,
industry.
oh my God. You're so I don't disagree that there are perverse monetary incentives, and I'm not a fan of healthcare being profit driven. So I agree with you there. And if that's what you want, I I'm there with you, but I'm assuming you're a capitalist. Are you a capitalist?
A form of one, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so then let's talk about this. How is the market going to correct for these gross negligence? How would it happen?
You tell me.
Well, you're going to have other companies that are going to have a testing, right? All the companies have all the other QC availability in order to make sure that, like, I mean, Johnson and Johnson, for example, would love in order to find graphene sheets and mRNA vaccines by Moderna, because that means that Moderna is going to go out of business and then they can fill that void. So there is like a competition aspect within global capitalism where these companies compete in order to make the best product. So you're talking about a global conspiracy with hundreds of companies throughout the entire globe, and it's like it's nonsense, bro. That's where you lose me.
Yeah, well, I just think that we have an immune system that we take for granted, and I think that we can definitely, compromise our system by putting things in our body, okay, such as
Okay,
vaccines, when we could ultimately, our immune system could fight off of these bacterias
okay,
and these things, okay, for
Liam,
sure.
Bro,
Wait,
how?
wait,
Okay,
that's how
why?
that. Wait a minute,
Why?
that's how
Okay,
we fight off the
why?
chickenpox
Okay,
virus.
yes, I
Man,
understand, dude. I understand,
is that
but guess
true or
what?
false?
Why? Okay, why did
True or is
humans
it
for
true or false?
hundreds of
Please answer
thousands
that
of
question first,
Liam, please, hundreds
dude.
of thousands of
I asked the
years. I'm
question, and you're
answering your
jumping right
question
past
right
it.
now. We're actually having a nuanced discussion, and I'm not gonna be your parrot, bro. We're gonna have a conversation, and I'm not gonna just bark like your dog. Okay? That's how this is gonna work.
What did I just ask of
Stop,
you?
stop. Listen to me right now. the way
Oh, you're
like
not answering
you're
questions.
I am
Okay.
going to answer it. I am answering it with an erudite, nuanced position that we are going to build on, and that's how the conversation works. The whole point of human development for the last 200,000 years was a death upon death of these preventable diseases. Well, they weren't preventable, right, at the time, because there wasn't science in order to support it. Germs were killing people at incredible rates, bro. The life expectancy of humans was at 30 years, 35 years, and they had nothing but robust, like, immune systems, according to you, the highest testosterone levels that you could possibly have because you didn't have any microplastics, you didn't have any fluoride in the water. There's all these things that you're talking
real quick,
about.
stop it there. Stop it there.
Yeah.
You believe in microplastics?
Well, of course I believe in microplastics, but I'm saying that they
You
didn't
think it's
exist.
good for our, but you think it's good for our body?
They didn't exist 100,000 years ago. So according
get
to
that, I
you,
get that.
that's when we should be thriving. We should be living to 200, 300 years old. I mean, do you think that we humans were living to those ages before all these things?
I think that humans were living longer lifespans for sure.
Okay. Oh my God, bro. Are you serious? How? So you're doing like the Abraham, like 800-year-old, like Bible verse things? Is that what you're believing?
Why not?
Oh, Jesus, dude. Oh my God. All right, my brother.
Wait a minute, bro.
Listen. Here we go. My son. Your time is up. I'm doing a 5-minute timer. We can't just do this all the time.
There's
But
no
I'm telling
timer
you,
up here.
I am.
Where's the timer?
I do have a timer.
There's no timer here.
It is a timer. Though I said there's a 5-minute timer in now
Can you
because
explain to me how we get.
dude.
Wait.
No, listen.
How do we fight off the common cold? How do we fight off the flu? How do we fight off chicken pox? How do we do that? How does the human body do that?
Yeah, antibodies, dude. And that's how that vaccines are great in order to give people an immune response without actually giving them a disease that could kill them. That's the whole idea. So, my brother, I am telling you, okay, I'm telling you, Liam, your goal and your homework right now is to go and find me evidence that humans lived for hundreds of years before the advent of pharmaceutical drugs. That is your homework, okay? Genuinely, I can't wait for you to see it. But there's two other people in there.
It's not even the point.
Okay, thanks, man.
It's
Thank you.
not the point. We live in reality.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Liam. Everyone, thank you. I appreciate Liam. We got to go on. Liam, everyone, thank you. Okay, so I appreciate Liam sincerely, but we have other people in the queue we have to go through. Okay, Rocky's next. We got it back to back, guys. We're going back to back. Rocky, dude, my number one fan. I see your stats, Rocky. You watch the stream so much. You're like my number 5 all-time viewer. It's so cool.
How's that possible? I'm just
Bro,
moving
it's amazing.
along.
Yeah, I don't think so, dude. You've been in chat the entire time, so
Well,
I appreciate you. I appreciate you a lot.
Well, I'm just halfway retired, so I got a little free time, So,
Nice. Okay, cool, man.
yeah,
You're always welcome, bro. I'm genuinely, you and Liam and everyone, you guys are always welcome in here. I genuinely appreciate you. So
I mean, Liam's a good guy,
Yeah.
He can say what he pleases, and
apparently he does jujitsu too. So we're gonna roll sometime. So I can't wait. It's gonna be really fun.
I play guitar, he plays guitar.
Nice.
Yeah,
Sick.
man.
Cool.
We're not all bad people,
I don't think that you are, man. I just think that you're just misinformed, and that's the thing. Like that's the problem. Where
No.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay, but I don't hold it
time.
against you, bro. That's the thing. I don't hold it against you, and I think that we can all learn and be better people. That's the whole point. And I'm trying the same thing. Hey, Omar, how's it going? I'm trying the same thing, bro. I'm trying to, get better myself. So I get it.
Well, it's just a shame that we have to have two parties like this, and we have to fight,
Dude, I really feel like it's just us against the billionaires, and that's that's what it is. Genuinely, I really do believe that, man.
Yeah.
And there's only one side and one party that is really so bootlicking to billionaires, and it's disgusting, and that's what really hurts my soul.
Yeah. And in the medical field, the way they keep giving you medicines, and it never have any cures. It just,
It's
I
not
forgot.
true though, dude. It's not true. I cured cancer with drugs I made inside of an algae chloroplast, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 1. Like we have drugs that cure people. Gene therapy cures
Yeah.
the cancers now. It's true.
Well, viruses is just a whole new ball game. It sucks.
Okay, so before when we had talked, you did not agree that SARS-CoV-2 was real, and I was making the argument that the same technology and equipment and scientists that tell you that SARS-CoV-2 is real are the same ones that are telling you that the flu is real and that regular coronaviruses are real. Were you able to think about that, or your response to that?
No, I just keep thinking of what happened the past 4 years,
Okay.
and how the vaccine companies, corporations, they got paid, right, to come up with vaccines. Is that true?
I mean, so Trump,
Correct.
Basically fast tracked a lot of their, and allowed them to go through the stages, all the same stages. They did all the same stages, but they just did it more quickly.
Well, I think the vaccines came out when Biden was in charge, right?
All of the development was with Trump. It was the best thing that he's ever done. It truly was.
Well, then it's pretty corrupt then. Because I know this for a fact that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine got paid, right?
They actually dropped, dude. They dropped their vaccines because of the increased myocarditis rates of their vaccine. So they dropped it entirely because it wasn't profitable for them.
Yeah, you're saying words. I don't know what the hell you're saying. So
I'm sorry. So basically there was an adverse side effect for their vaccine, and it was too expensive for them to make it anymore. So they stopped producing it. Yeah, I genuinely don't. I'm not trying to talk over you. If you ever do that, please let me know. So thank you for saying that.
No, it's just, but they did get paid, right?
Well, they're for-profit companies, man. Like, I mean, I that's what you and Liam. I feel like. Do you guys know about MAGA communism? Do you understand what that is? Do you know what that is?
No, I don't.
I feel like you guys are communists. I'm not joking. I'm not saying that despairingly, because it's just like this anti-corporate structure, anti-free market. You guys really seem to. It's. I don't understand why you guys are capitalists and yet you're pushing these things.
In my mind, what Trump's trying to do is similar to what an independent president would do. AKA Jesse the Body Ventura. He had similar ideas. As far as, getting his company back, to prosperity. And that's what MAGA is about in my mind.
But how he's shutting down American businesses, man, American jobs, American manufacturing, American patents. Like, I lost my job this week because of Trump directly.
Well, it's a big mess. I mean, that happens,
What, bro? It was there for 25 years, bro. And we have families, we have technology that we created, patents. Like, how can you just write that off?
Well, I mean, I worked for Delta Airlines for 14 years, and I took a 20% pay cut after 9/11, and I got sick of the bullshit because I had to get displaced to 2 different cities to save my job. You know what displaced means, don't you?
Bro, but no.
You're
I
good.
do, but I'm just saying
don't
that,
complain.
like, what? Of course I complain, because it's from a direct action between Trump's tariffs and his complete gutting of the entire science industry. I mean, the airplanes weren't like completely defunded by $100 billion in the United States after 9/11, bro.
Don't you have an education?
Yeah, I have a PhD. Yeah.
Okay, well, you're good. You'll be all right.
Bro, like, what are you talking about? It's American jobs, bro. American families, American patents. Like, you just don't care about that. Why are you more likely to believe Trump than me? Do you believe me?
I had to move to save my job. So what's wrong with you doing that? Move to Europe.
What are you talking about? You want me to move? You want me to not? Do you want to lose all of science? You're saying that science as an industry needs to move out of the United States. That's what you're saying.
No,
that's what you just said to me. You should said I had to move into Europe.
That's going to hurt the whole country.
What?
If you're not here, it's going to hurt the whole country.
I think so. Thanks. Are you saying that? Is that a question, or are you saying that?
No, I'm just saying, if you did move, it's going to hurt the country.
I think so. I think, yes, science, like moving and leaving the United States when we are a technological powerhouse and we were the driver of science and innovation for the last 75 years. And that's why we are such an economic powerhouse. Yeah, I think that would hurt us for now and for the next 50 years.
You know, and if this virus was real and when it happened 4 years ago.
It is.
Okay, well, in my mind, it's not.
Okay, but I mean, again.
But see, why didn't the whole world come together if this was a world problem and shut that Wuhan lab down at least? Why?
Because that's not where it came from, bro. That's not where it came from. And the entire world did come. It's the World Health Organization. It was the whole world.
But what if it did? Because that's pretty much what I thought that the storyline was. What they told us in the beginning, No, it can't. First, they scared you with the bat thing, and they scared you with the snake thing, and some kind of animals, or
that's from raccoons, the raccoon dogs. Yeah, that was the intermediary. Yeah,
the scare tactics of the government, man. Just like they scared you on 9/11.
What? Oh my gosh, dude.
I'm not gonna go there. You don't want me to go there, dude.
Bro, why do you hate science as an industry? Why do you hate us? You told me to move out of the country, like the industry isn't important, that we can have mass layoffs in science and that's okay. You don't want us to have any funding. You don't believe any of our data or our conclusions. Like, why do you despise science?
Not when it's made for profit.
Dude, the university system isn't made for profit, and that's why we fund it there, because that's the whole point. Foundational research isn't profitable for 20 or 30 years, and that's why we fund it there.
Okay, would Dr. Fauci be retired right now if none of this ever happened?
I mean, probably.
Probably?
Yeah, I mean, he's 80 years old, dude. Like, what do you mean?
Well, I'm just looking at the small things that people don't think about. It's just little things.
Dude, how do you like, again, why are you so afraid of things that you don't understand? Why are you living in so much fear?
Well, in my mind, my routine for the past 35, 40 years, vitamin C every day.
Okay.
In some fashion, way, or form. And I get sick from time to time, but it's just a sinus infection. I never had the flu since I was a teenager. Okay, this has been my routine. And I've been to the gym about 300 or 400 times in the past 35 years. Okay. And I'm not saying everybody can do this and take care of their health, but I wish, people would wake up and stop letting these corporations just, feed off, the people, feeding them this, feeding all these kind of pills and drugs, man. I mean, rugs, it's just sad the way it's come to,
But dude, okay, I'm going to give you the same question. I'm going to give you the same question that I gave Liam. Why was the human life expectancy 30 years old until 150 years ago?
Well, I had an uncle lived to 101, so.
Exactly. Yeah, I know.
Okay. And he didn't take care of his health.
How long did humans live 100,000 years ago?
I have no idea, but I'm just saying.
About 30 years. About 30 years.
What they said about last year, I heard somebody say it on the news, interviewing some other doctor, and he said about cancer. Cancer is just bad luck. It doesn't matter if you smoke or do all those bad things. It's just bad luck. That's all it is.
Okay. All right. I mean, everyone's going to get cancer at some rate. I mean, it's just you basically have the amount of cancer, like your age is the amount of cancer risk that you have, basically. So
if you take the average guy that, just doesn't take care of his health, he drinks beer every day, and compared to drinking vitamin C, who do you think is going to live longer?
The whole thing with vitamin C is completely overblown, bro. Like, that's what I don't understand. Okay. Why do you understand that one? Why do you agree with that one Nobel laureate and you discount all of other medical science? Why do you agree with him?
The thing I'm proud of myself is I've been checked twice in the past 2 years. I do not have diabetes, and I should have it. Okay.
Wait, what?
So
I mean, so you eat enough sugar that you should your
no,
insulin levels are still whacked? Is that what you?
no, I don't have diabetes.
I mean,
I
that's
have,
normal not to have diabetes, bro. Like, what are you talking about?
well, no, you could. Well, it kind of runs in my family, you know. It runs in a lot of people's family. So,
Dude, it's more of a cultural thing, and it's not
no,
like unless you're a type 1 diabetic, man. Like, yeah, type 2 diabetes is a learned thing where you're just eating too much sugar for your body to process it. So yeah. Okay, so I got other people in the queue. I gave you 12 minutes, man. Like I normally give you
that's
5,
fine,
but
man.
please queue up again. I want to continue the conversation. Okay, please. Thank you, man.
All right.
I appreciate you. All right, guys. Thank you. It's the top of the hour ad read. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Sheepadoodle. Maurice, Don. Thank you so much. Remember to follow, please. The best way you can support the stream is giving me a subscribe. Thank you so much. Thank you for 1 like or 1,000. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. The link tree in my bio has links to everything. We got $5 super chats where you can participate in the discussion. I got my Discord there, which has all my show notes and my primary literature for that we read in the articles. You can also submit an article for me to read or go over through like a video. And also there's a link in my link tree for all my publications if you're curious about what I've done scientifically. So thank you so much. Super Freak, you should get in here, bro. You should get in here. Jump on in, bro. I think Michael was first and then Business Wolves. So next up, we got Michael. How's it going, man?
Hey, good afternoon. How you doing, Dr. Greg?
Good, man. Thank you.
Actually, early this morning, I thought you started without everybody this morning because I saw your video with the anti-vaxxer.
Oh,
And so that was kind of interesting. I would, listen to that, but just like with the 2 previous gentlemen there, it's kind of head scratching. It's kind of in a way common sense. Of course, I live in Texas, so you had everything going on with the measles over there in West Texas, because people didn't want to get their children vaccinated.
yeah.
And a lot of things. And of course, just it's as well kind of common sense, but you read a lot of things that a lot of illnesses, whether it's, the cold or the flu or things like that, are contracted from children. The children go off to school with others, with other children. They get sick, they take it home to their parents and other family members and things like that.
Exactly.
So that's how, how a lot of adults end up getting sick. But, one of the big things, how Liam was asking, well, how did people survive or take care of themselves when there wasn't any vaccines and things that, back in the old days? Well, number one, either they died because they couldn't, shake it, or they were lucky enough to survive. Or the other thing is that, they were separated from other people, all the healthy people, they separated them and isolated them from, other people. And then, they either died or survived.
Yeah.
Of course, that's what happened. So it's just kind of interesting how a lot of people, like you said as well, just refuse to accept science. Of course, I mean, just because you don't understand it doesn't mean you can't educate yourself. Like I had just started, went and jumped on Amazon, and I think I found, I'm trying to find the perfect book to try and read to understand a little bit more about what you're discussing, especially when you and another doctor, are getting together and you start geeking out. It's like, man, that sounds so good, but I need to understand more. So there's that. I think I found one. I think it's like microbiology and something for for idiots. The one of the idiot books that you can get. So I'll end up ordering that and then start reading that because it's always good as well just to. Years ago, I saw on 60 Minutes, gosh, this was probably back in the early 90s or late 80s, Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens. He was already like 90 something.
Bringing it back.
Yeah. And he was talking about, court cases, Supreme Court cases that he, watched over, from the 1920s and 30s like they were yesterday. And if you were to close your eyes, he sounded like he was probably more like in his 40s or 50s. And they asked him, how come you're so, cognizant, loose, and everything else? He says, well, the brain's a muscle. You need to work it out just like any other muscle in your body. So
true.
He ends up, I read a lot, so I took that to heart and
Nice.
decided I was going to start reading a lot more. I thought when I was younger, well, what am I afraid of? At the end, it's like, well, I'm afraid of dying. I'm afraid of losing all my hair. It's like, no, I got to have a different perspective now. So, now it's just different things. But one of my favorite movies is Outbreak.
Oh, man. It's a horror movie. Especially after the pandemic. That is,
Oh, absolutely. Because are we now back in another situation with him back in the White House that we're just one huge catastrophic, problem popping up again that we're really going to get cratered as not just as our own country, but what he's doing with the tariffs and all the other stuff, not to get into politics, but that's hurting everybody around the world, not just the United States. And so that it just seems kind of, interesting that something like that is happening and it's affecting everybody. And those people on the other side just don't see it. They're just, just kind of taking it, now all of a sudden, like they say FAFO, now all of a sudden all these other people, well, I didn't vote for that. Well, yes, you did. You just didn't think it was going to happen to you. So, I really like your show. I enjoyed it. Again,
Thank you.
The anti-vaxxer, unfortunately, there's still a lot of people out there and just, to finish off here, it just doesn't seem, I guess it's kind of common sense if you think about it, with vaccines. And I know he talked about the child that died. Yes, of course, not everybody is going to be immune to different things, for the vaccines. Yes, some people may have reactions. That's like that's why they do pharmaceutical trials and things.
Exactly.
To test them out to see like that. And they don't understand that. And it just seems, hopefully a lot of these other people will start looking and educating themselves on a lot of those different things. Cause science, without science, we wouldn't be around. It helps a lot of people. And I think it's interesting to hear and just study science itself. I wish I would have paid attention more in school. The only two, elements that I know are AU and H2O. I don't know if you remember back in the day, Barry Goldwater, who ran for president, I guess back in the 70s. That was his bumper sticker, Barry AUH2O, because his name was Barry Goldwater. So
that's fine.
All right. Well,
I think, dude, I think, man, what you're talking about is so true. In political science, it's called tragedy of the commons, where people basically think about you go into a park when the park doesn't have any trash on it. And we're paying all this money for this janitor. Why do we need to pay for this park janitor anymore? It's just it's a waste of money. There's no trash to clean up. You fire the janitor or the groundskeeper or whatever, and then now all of a sudden all the trash keeps coming up. So we live in a world that has been completely radicalized and revolutionized by the existence of vaccines. And we don't have any we don't have any internal problem going to insanely large events, hundreds of thousands of people in it. And there's basically no fear of communicable diseases when you go there. And that wasn't always the case. That wasn't the case. And yet we live in a world where now people are fear mongering and saying and injecting fear. And what it really comes down to is that people that are anti-vaccine are living in fear about things that they don't understand. Excuse me, the things that they don't understand. They don't understand how it works. They don't understand the process. So there's other people that do have that knowledge, and they are institutionalized. That knowledge is institutionalized, but they don't have it themselves. So therefore they discount the entire thing. And people are never going to be an expert in every field. And it's important that people trust the institutions, trust the process, not because it's an authoritarian thing, but because it actually has the research and the data and the publications and the peer review all coming together. It's not just like an authoritarian thing. And that's, science needs to do a better job of not being authoritarian and try to highlight the, that's what Fauci was saying, by the way, when he was saying, I am the science. Like I am like the representative of all of this. And I say it in the same way. It's like, don't believe me. I don't want anyone to believe what I'm saying. I would love for you to check it out, to research it yourself, figure it out, like read the same primary literature that I'm talking about and come and give a critique, figure out your take on it. And that's totally fine. But what's happening isn't skepticism, it's contrarianism, and people are scared and fearful of institutions and science they don't understand. So they lash out and spread misinformation that's pumped to them by AI-driven algorithms. And they see, unfortunately, Liam and Rocky probably have their algorithms pumping vaccine injuries at them constantly because they're constantly liking it. They're probably watching all the videos. So in their head, they see video after video after video, article after article after article of this. And it's like, I mean, we're only going to be trained as a human in order to look at pattern recognition, and the pattern is there for them. So in a way, they're actually really well informed. It's just that they're well informed on the bad stuff and not on publications, not on data, not on analysis. And that's what we're trying to do here. So thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in, Michael. It's always fun talking to you.
Oh, yeah. Have a good night, Doc.
Have a good one. Sorry, guys. My wife tested positive for strep 2 nights ago, and we're getting through this, guys. We're doing this. We're not stopping. I got coffee and water. We're going back and forth. Open. I see you. Business Wolf is next, and then we are going. Michael Rickman, how's it going, man? Dude, I love all the physicians, the scientists, everyone coming in here. It's such an awesome community of people that are trying to make the world a better place. And I'm so honored that you guys are here. Like, genuinely. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Sorry. I can go on forever about that. So, all right. Business Wolf, how's it going, man? Thanks for joining.
Hey, Doc, how you doing tonight?
Good.
Listen, first of all, I was listening to the guy before the first gentleman, and yeah, I've always been impressed every time I see you talking to these guys trying to explain something to someone who was absolutely giving no thought. I just had to say, I don't know if you caught it, but on the one hand, he said he didn't believe that the coronavirus was real.
Correct.
But then 2 sentences later, he said that it was created in the Wuhan fact. It's like, okay, which one is it not real, or was it created in China? You got to pick one or the other. Anyway, well, critical thinking. Go ahead.
Exactly. I mean, now in the conversation that I had with him before, the ending was basically he didn't believe that SARS-CoV-2 was real at all. And I told him, well, prove to me germ theory then. Prove to me that germ theory exists. And that was the highlight that I put out today. Prove to me that viruses are real. Prove to me that germs are real. Have you ever seen a germ? Have you ever seen a virus? And the point of that is that the same people, the same processes, the same equipment that are telling you that these microbes and these viruses and germ theory is real are the same ones telling you that SARS-CoV-2 is real. So if you don't believe that SARS-CoV-2 is real, you shouldn't believe that germs are real. And that is a huge problem that they're, that's where I'm trying to understand how they do trust that's a big thing, right? They trust institutional knowledge to tell them that germ theory is real. So now we need to drill in and understand why and how they trust that institutional knowledge when it comes to germ theory, but why not with SARS-CoV-2?
But I think it goes to, as we said, unfortunately, I think the common denominator you're going to find with a lot of those conversations is that they tend to be MAGA. It's hard. I mean, it's a sad thing to say, but the reality is they just tend to be MAGA. And the problem with their reasoning right now is that they won't accept any facts unless it comes from a very limited source of people.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, even that very limited source of people are not very bright. I mean, it's just, it's just the truth. I was so happy to hear you talk about the other doctors and everything that are on here. I do have one serious question for you after you respond, but yeah, it's still very concerning to me, the overall trajectory of the country being
I agree. Yeah, there was kind of like a crunchy granola lefty kind of like thing that was, against pharma and against pharmaceutical companies and against capitalism. So they didn't trust anything that they touched. And it's kind of merged with this kind of like populist right Christian nationalist idea of like, I don't need anyone to tell me what to do. It's basically like anarcho capitalism, but and it's it's very odd. There's a lot of different things that are coming together to kind of create an incoherent worldview. Exactly, Bill Maher. Exactly, Jen. Bill Maher repeats this: the anti-pharmaceutical stuff, the vaccine skepticism, and it's ridiculous. It's just there's no chance.
Yeah, I don't understand it. But let me ask you this. So this is another one of those questions I've always wondered. Never had an opportunity to speak with someone like you until now, so I appreciate the venue. Okay, big pharmaceutical. We know that they have to make money. We know that they have to make a profit. Is it true that pharmacies are more vested in managing disease than curing disease because of the profit? If so, why or why not? What are your thoughts?
So, like a pharmaceutical company is going to be profit driven. That's absolutely right. But because they're profit driven, what they're interested in is creating a better engineered product versus like novel breakthroughs. So people kind of erroneously think that like pharmaceutical companies do research, and this is common with the single payer private provider argument. So people will say we can't do single payer because then all of the pharmaceutical companies aren't going to have money, and we're going to lose all of our medical research, and that just isn't correct. So the medical research is actually done at a university, not profit driven, because it takes so long in order to have that happen. And then basically once the mechanism has been discovered and that's understood, now the patent is created, and then now the pharmaceutical company can create that. But I mean, it's contingent on, if that pharmaceutical company is seeing this mechanism and they're not giving any technological advancement, like obviously another company is going to come over and take that technological advancement and push it forward. Like there really is no reason to stymie the better implementation of that drug just because they could make more money. I don't think that they would, like, genuinely. This is also the weirdest part. These people are anti-pharmaceutical companies, so they're anti-vaccine. But actually, the real conspiracy would be the pharmaceutical company is the one that pushes the anti-vaccine disinformation, because they make more money as a pharmaceutical company by people not taking vaccines, getting sicker, and using hospital stays. So that's the actual thing, that the anti-vaccine people would be the pharmaceutical shills. That would be how it would actually work if the conspiracy was actually real, or if it was any of it made any sense. But they don't, obviously. It's just it doesn't make any sense, and that isn't true. So and that's where we're at, man. Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, it's odd to be so hyper. Yeah, thank you, Michael. Yeah, I'm physicians in the chat, so I'm really interested in seeing what he says.
No, please. And if they're giving you the information, I love to hear what they're saying, because I'm trying to listen to you and read as well. So
yeah, it's being as a capitalist, you have to understand that there are other people in the market that are going to be trying to improve the the product, or if it's not a patent, they're trying to create a new drug that does similar improvements that you could sell and create.
Have fewer side effects and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Request up, Michael. It'd be awesome to talk to you. And then, so I just feel like it's kind of like perverse. It doesn't make any sense. There's a whole, do you want to talk to Michael too, Business Wolf?
Please bring him
cool.
up. Because I do have one other. I'm
curious what he says. I mean, he's directly related to this, not me.
Yeah. Come on up.
Nice. Hey Michael,
Greg.
how's it going?
Good, man. The first time I've done this, actually. But I was listening to you.
Cool.
And so I'm double board certified cardiothoracic surgeon. You have to be a general surgeon before cardiothoracic surgeon. So I just actually recently started TikTok and I've been making videos all about the facts.
So
the
know a little bit about the human body, huh?
A lot. Done quite a bit of heart surgery,
Okay.
several thousand cases, but
dang, impressive.
The BS that these people peddle, in terms of like, let's just take cancer drugs. For every one that gets approved, 9 never get approved, and the average time from when they, drug development takes about 10 years. So, the problem with cost and it's passed on to us, and that's a government issue because Medicare is not allowed to, or the government's not allowed to negotiate with pharmaceutical companies. So the cost is passed on to us. And, it's not good. But the bottom line is these same people who say, oh, they would never get an mRNA vaccine. But I wrote an article, would you get an mRNA vaccine for cancer? Oh, my God. Of course. Of course. And I'm like, well, I thought it's a conspiracy. And they're like, well, cancer is a different disease. So,
it reminds me of all those stories of people that just as the respirator is putting on them in the hospital and they're dying of COVID, and they ask the nurse, is it too late to get the vaccine? And you're like, bro, oh my God. Like,
oh my gosh,
come on, dude. Like, come on.
I had 2 friends die who were, ER doctors of COVID.
Oh, that's awful, man. I'm so sorry.
One of my buddies, I mean, he's okay as an ER doctor, but he told me as some guy he's desatting down into like the 30s, and his last dying wish was, can I have a Fresca? Okay, and
wow.
And what people don't understand is 19 million people have been saved by the vaccine. Okay. And there is no conspiracy, that. And how many times I've been called a pharma shell? I've never taken 1 cent from pharma, like ever. And like, to me, I heard you talking about Fauci. Guy's a hero.
Oh, yeah.
He single-handedly, we would not be where we are today with AIDS without, if he wasn't around. Ebola, Marvo virus, everything. And they just say he's some show, and the guy, he devoted his life. He could have been making so much money, in the private world. So, I appreciate, just been listening to you, and it's a pleasure for somebody not to be selling some BS like products, I mean, that, because that's what everybody's doing, right?
It is. Can I, Michael? Yeah. Michael, can I ask you guys both a question? I got 2 doctors up here. I feel special since I got both of you here. and you mentioned Fauci, and I know he did a lot of work with HIV. Here is a really good question I have every time I see the drug for the HIV, and it talks about reducing the viral load. Please help me understand how we develop a medicine that can reduce the viral load of the virus to a point that is undetectable, but we can't kill it off and cure it. That is a hard step for me. And I know it's something scientific that I'm missing. And like I told you last time, Doc, I'm a part-time geek. So this is really interesting to me, this piece.
Yeah, Greg probably can answer this better than I can.
Yeah, so HIV is a retrovirus. So basically it can go from RNA to DNA and then integrates into your genome. So once it's integrated into your genome, then basically it creates it can integrate in all your cells. And once it's there, now you have a lot of drugs that can stop the stage that you go from DNA to RNA, which is transcription. So the idea is that you have a lot of molecular biology tools that are stopping that from happening. So there's a promoter region before the genes, and you can stop the binding of the machinery in order to that creates and makes the protein. You can do a lot of different molecular biology tools basically, but what you would have to do in order to remove HIV from someone entirely would have to edit all their cells. And as a differentiated human, there's so many. I mean, think about how many cells you have, and it would just be it's so hard. I mean, we do human human gene editing right now, like at the very, very, very start of life. I meant like when it actually happens.
Yeah, I got you.
So it's super, once it differentiates, it's basically super hard. And you see the same with plants, by the way. You can't just if I'm trying to gene edit a plant, it's like it's going to be at the very beginning, the single celled spot, not at the the land plant that you see. So that's the main problem. There's a lot of gene therapy things that are popping off though, that are really making the rounds through CRISPR and gene editing and stuff like that.
Didn't we just clear the first using CRISPR?
Yeah.
And a kid, in that pediatric patient, I forgot what the disease was.
Exactly.
But it's the first time, but I mean, it's no different, you guys, then. So why are we seeing lung cancer in younger people who never smoked? And because they have a driver, they have a mutation driver, an EGFR mutation, a RET, a ROS. And the only thing we can ascribe it to is right now, it seems like the evidence is air pollution. I mean, my ex-girlfriend just died last year at 51, never smoked, stage 4 lung cancer, and amazing. She had an EGFR mutation. And yes, there are targeted drugs that can, can treat you, but eventually you develop drug resistance, and there's no way to get rid of the gene in your body, so we're at its infancy, but the main thing is there's lots of things that are treatable. Curable is a different word. And and that's the main thing that people need to understand with any disease, especially cancer. One of the first questions they need to ask an oncologist, for example, is this treatable, is it curable? And most things late stage are not curable, they're treatable. And so, it just goes back to your question about AIDS. Exactly, we can't get the virus out of the cells. We can treat it, okay, and we can keep you low, and people are living now, but we can't get rid of the virus. So that's why there's no vaccine.
Interesting. Listen, guys, I don't want to monopolize time. Thank you both. I actually understood that. Yeah, I actually understood that. That made sense. So I appreciate you guys taking that time to explain that to me. So
yeah, of course, man. Yeah.
Somebody just asked, can you test for an EGFR mutation? Well, you can, and I'll answer that. So obviously,
wait, first tell me what's the EGFR?
That's epidermal growth factor. It's one of the drivers. So we have there's something called next gen sequencing. So pretty much every solid tumor should have, when they do a biopsy, they do something called next gen sequencing. The problem is it is not done in 70% of patients in the United States who have a solid tumor. And it's a shame, because that determines whether you're going to be sensitive to immunotherapy, whether targeted therapy, whether you have a gene, or chemotherapy. And it is the standard of care. But I can tell you that most people, so if you have lung cancer, every lung cancer needs to be sent for what's called next gen sequencing, so you can identify if they have an actionable mutation, because we have oral drugs that target that mutation. Okay. And I can tell you that I get in arguments all the time with oncologists. who are like, it's not really necessary. And unfortunately, a lot of it's socioeconomic driven. It's, poor people don't get it done. People on Medicaid don't get it done. And then there's geographic. My first job in heart surgery was I grew up in Beverly Hills. My first job in heart surgery was in Eastern Kentucky in Appalachia. And it was, God help you if you get a serious disease there, because you don't get the same quality of care as somebody does, in a big city who has good insurance. So
got it.
It's criminal,
Doc,
man. It's
let
like
me get out the way so you can let some other folks up. I appreciate you, both of you, very much. Thanks a lot.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for saying that. Have a good one, Business Wolf. You're always welcome, man. I love talking to you.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thanks, man. Whoops, shoot, Michael. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. He left, and then if you want to keep talking, you can jump back in, Michael. I'm sorry. He left, and then your thing went right up there. But I'd love to continue talking if you wanted to. Thank you for joining, and if you want to join again, that's all good. But Nico, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. So usually people can't join, leave the call, so I have to kick them or disconnect them, and then. But sometimes they know how to, so it pushes it up. But let's see. I think I can find you. Let me find you. I'm trying to find you in the history or the this. No. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Slight technical difficulty. How's everyone doing? Thank you guys so much. Since we're in a thing here. 1 second, Joe, you can get on. Thank you guys so much for supporting the stream. Thank you so much, top gifters. Jen, thank you. Thank you, Sheep Doodle. Thank you, Maury Down. Thank you so much. Best way to remember to follow, please. Also, the best way to support is to please subscribe. And thank you, whether 1 like or 1,000 likes. Thank you so much. In the bio, I have my link tree, which gets you the link to the Discord, and there was all my show notes with primary sources and where we can just discuss science. And then also in the link tree, there is $5 super chats. So if you want to join or ask a question without jumping onto voice, you can give me a $5. And I'll read it out loud. And then also on my link tree is the YouTube live archive. If you need to take a break from the app in mental health break, you can still listen on my YouTube and still get that awesome science contact. And on my link tree is all my publications, all the PDFs, no paywalls. So if you wanted to see what I did, or you're interested about, you're the one person in the world that's interested in algae nanotechnology, that is that's there. That's all good. All right, Joe, you're next. What's up, Joe?
man?
How's it going?
How you been?
Good.
Sorry,
good.
My cough is getting worse. I'm
Dude,
still
me
recovering.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. Hope you hang in there.
Thanks, man.
Well, first of all, I wanted to say the other night I was listening to you and you were talking about your kids, and I want to say I hope you know that we may not agree on everything, but I do hope the best for you and your family. And I think that.
Thanks, man.
Of course. However, our conversation got somewhat cut off because I wanted to talk a little bit about gene editing.
Okay.
Which you had been discussing with somebody else.
Okay, I saw you, Michael. It's just let me talk to Joe real quick, and then there's also Francois. So I'm sorry.
I am the guy from the Venezuelan gulag. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
How wonderful.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah.
The timer's on. Sorry. Just because there's people in the queue.
For some reason, can I leave and come back? Because for some reason, when I joined, it turned the screen green, so I can't see anything right now.
Okay. Yeah. I'll get Francois.
Just give me 1 second, because I don't know why TikTok does stuff like this. But
okay, I'll kick you, and then you can come back. Okay. Sweet. Francois, I see you. Oh, there you are. Michael, I don't want to subject you to these guys. I respect you too much as a Oh, okay.
I'll
All
be
right, I'm gonna
right
get
back.
Francois on and just get 5 minutes. So.
Okay, I'll let Francois talk and then we can talk after.
Sick.
It's for some reason I can't see anything, so I've got to close out the app. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Yeah, all good. All right, guys. All right, Francois. Next up, Francois, how's it going? Up, he's accepted. There he goes. How's it going, man?
How's it going, sir? Remember the last conversation? I got something because I kind of got fascinated by microbiology. You saw that AI scan like a mammoth and they found like something that could be useful. How do you
Okay.
feel that microbiology will use AI in the future?
Yeah,
Is
man.
it a big thing? Is it big in your field?
I mean, in biology right now, a lot of it is kind of a little overblown. I do think that like they, they got the Nobel Prize for AlphaFold last year, and I thought that was a little early because, I mean, they had theoretically made 500 different pharmaceutical drugs, but a lot of times when we test those, it is not. They don't work. We've had a lot of AI improved proteins like Rubisco and stuff, and then we test it versus the natural evolved, proteins, and they don't do any better. So it really is kind of, it's not up to the hype just so far just yet. But like as you know, in terms of like neural networking, deep learning, all these different ways and modalities of like what people think of as AI, they do have a ton of promise and they're incredible. So I do think that, I think it's going to be huge in the future.
But did you see the news I saw about the mammoth where they found this was antibacteria and it was kind of fascinating
Let's
and they
see.
were like, what the hell is going on here? I could go.
It says, I mean, I Googled it. AI.
Woolly mammoth, and they found something very fascinating in it. That
Okay.
could be bacteria. Like it's fascinating for me. It is. Probably more for you. I'm not a microbiologist.
AI discovers new antibiotics in ancient microbes. Is that it? When they're maybe.
Let me go back to it.
I'm not seeing it. This would be a good thing to put in the Discord, bro, so you can give it to me. Looking at a Nature paper right now. Deep learning enabled antibiotic discovery through molecular de-extinction. It's not woolly mammoth, though. I mean, theoretically, it could be extinct.
Mammutism again, like from all DNA, and they found they could find like a thing to beat bacteria, like they used to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating, but like I'm not a microbiologist. You are.
Mm-hmm.
But let me try to maybe select it and
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you could put it in the Discord. That would probably be the best way to give me the link, or I can try to. I can't link it in the chat, so if you could just like put the title in the chat, and then I could just Google it.
I'll put it in the chat right now. Oh, that's not what I want to be. That's a bitch. That's a anti man. That forget what I just said. I'll send it back.
Okay. All right. While you're doing this, I'm just going to get Joe in, and then you can come back in and we can discuss it. Okay, Joe? Sorry.
I got
okay,
it. I got it right now. I just got it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do the okay. Mammutheusin, an antibiotic from woolly mammoth.
That is for me. That's extremely fascinating.
Oh, it's like okay. Oh, it is. Oh my gosh, that was it. That was that Nature paper. So that was a.
That's really fascinating, isn't it? That
Okay.
like, well, what's your view on this? Because I really want to know what's your view on this.
Okay, let's do this as the top of the hour science thing. Once we're done with Joe, I'm gonna break and we're gonna read a paper and we can read this. But I don't know. I gotta read it. I gotta read the abstract in order to know. So I can't just read something. But basically
Sorry, go ahead.
So I mean, yeah, basically the idea that there are a lot of different antibiotics and microbes that existed that have unique pathways and drugs that could be useful is well known, and it's like kind of the foray of biology research, man. Like 99.9% of animals that have ever existed have gone extinct. So it's like there is a whole world of stuff out there that we have yet to discover. But I'll read this on I'll read this on the top of the hour after I'm done with Joe, and then we can and then you can hop on and discuss it afterwards. Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Sweet. Thanks, man. Okay. Cool. Let's get Joe back. All right. Awesome. Thank you, Dr. T. Yeah, I found it. I put it in my in the show notes.
It's
guys.
still doing it. I can't see the timer, but I'll bear through it. I don't know why it's happening.
Okay.
I can still hear you,
Roger.
So I don't remember if you remember the conversation you were having yesterday regarding gene editing, but I wanted to continue that. One of the points that had been discussed was you had said, and I have heard this elsewhere, that I guess like 80% of our genome is latent, either viral or parasitic DNA.
Okay.
Do you remember talking about
that? Yeah, there's basically insertions from that. I don't remember saying that, but I mean it is like somewhat true.
Okay.
A lot of like endogenous retroviruses do have like mutation, like insertions into our genome. Yeah.
I've heard that elsewhere. So it's like essentially like 80% of DNA that we have actually isn't being actively, I guess, manifested. You might have a better scientific term than I do. I guess. What would you say? Not manifested, but expressed, right?
They're not expressed, but they're called so inside genus, endogenous retroviruses. So viruses that put their genomes inside of our genome.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. So as far as gene editing goes, I know there's two major categories. So it's the viral, which I know that we use for editing of like mRNA, and then the second type that I know is through, I guess, like what you call like the ring bacteria, right? Are you tracking?
The ring bacteria? Do you mean like the ringworm?
Yeah, they have ring bacteria, which essentially it's a form of parasitic bacteria that can extract from one organism and transfer to another organism.
Horizontal gene transfer.
Yeah, I'm not a scientist, so you probably know the vernacular more accurately than I do.
Okay.
So I'm speaking layman's terms, but I think I'm accurately describing it. So, kind of my question is that barring AI, and I'm not saying that it couldn't happen. I have not seen a study, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, where essentially they've developed a novel new sequence or insertion of a new trait. So what I mean is, like, let's use the trait of invisibility. No species that we know of. I know but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
Because this is kind of a thought experiment.
Okay.
A trait that we don't know of, that is newly developed, and then spontaneously inserted in our DNA. What we have seen deletion and replication of existing traits from one genome to another genome. So we can see that through, like, mice experiments where they transfer like resistance to certain types of poisons, camouflage. I think you know, like, that, the general idea I'm going for. But for me, logically, it is indicative of the idea that there was a certain pool, and you've talked about how 80% of all species, and I would probably also posit or extrapolate that this is true of traits as well, have probably died out. So to me, it seems like I apologize for my cough.
That's okay. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
I don't know what something's going around. That there was an existing gene pool, whether or not it was within the human species or whether or not it was in, I guess, the expression of all species, but we haven't seen the creation of new genes. So we've seen the transfer from one genome to another. So I'm kind of curious.
Definitely seen new genes. We've definitely seen direct anything, that's a niche can be evolved to take advantage of that niche. So like nylonase is a good example of this. Nylon is brand new, and basically that it's a food source that bacteria has evolved in order to break down in order to use. So it's evolved since like the 1950s, so there are new genes and new proteins that are evolving constantly.
Right. But that protein already exists in nature, right?
No. Why would there be a nylonase in nature? Basically, so what happens is, let's say that there was another thought experiment, right? Let's say there is a bacteria 100 years ago that just mysteriously and somehow creates the conditions so that you have a nylonase. Well, that bacteria, how are they going to do? Are they going to improve their fitness by making a nylonase when there isn't any nylon?
Yeah, that's my exact point.
It's not. So they're going to die out. Basically, metabolism, it can be seen as kind of like a checking account. If you're spending money on proteins that you're not using, that aren't useful for fitness, then those bacteria are actually going to die quicker, right? Because they're not going to have the resources and the amino acids in order to make proteins that are actually useful.
So, no, I actually agree with you, and that was the point I was driving at, is that it's almost as if nature somehow finds this path of most efficiency to find which proteins already exist within a given environment and then provide the solution to the problem. And I don't know if you're familiar, but when I was going up through school, they taught that there's obviously you have animals that catabolize and metabolize energy from other organisms, and then you have plants which photosynthesize. But now we know that there's bacteria that are capable of surviving off of energy from radiation as well as heat, right? Have you heard about those by chance?
Yeah, there's lots of different energy sources that people are, for sure. I don't know about the radiation. I believe I know what you're talking about. It's the one that like Chernobyl or something has like bacteria that
actually deep. They have it in Chernobyl, but there's also deep within the ocean. They found a type of bacteria that can, get energy from magnetism as well, which I think is insane, right?
Yeah.
So, to me, it kind of illustrates this notion, and I also they've gathered organisms off the outside of aircraft in space now. So I'm curious if you agree with the idea that somehow life persists and exists, and no different than matter on a certain level, it's innate to the universe. I would label it maybe philosophically as like natural law. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that as a microbiologist?
I mean, I do think that there's life outside of Earth for sure. And I do think that there's, life and evolution is a physical process, that happens. The accumulation of genetic mutations in a population and then how those things are selected for, it just naturally happens. It even happens with things that aren't considered living, which is, viruses. And even chemicals that can be, evolved through chemical processes. That's what Francis Arnold does. And so it's called directed evolution. So I think that there's life everywhere in the universe, basically.
Can I ask you one off-topic question? By chance, have you ever done psychedelics at all? Or
my friend has.
Fungal mushrooms that have psilocybin.
Yeah.
So I have, and I think a lot of people talked about this experience where essentially when you've done it, you have this perception that all of matter is living, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
all of the scientific method dictates that uh, there's certain things that are living that are not, but then we have
Mm-hmm.
that gray area of viruses. But I almost wonder if, as time goes on, our scientific understanding of what is conscious or living might evolve further, because I think that we have this sort of mantra, this set of assumptions based on materialism, which I don't personally agree with.
I do think
But
this is the thing that I tried to think about is imagine us finding bacteria or yeast. Yeast would be better because it's a eukaryotic organism. Imagine us finding yeast on like Mars or something. Like, would we imagine that as intelligent life? And I think that we don't think of yeast as intelligent life on Earth, but I think that
I can't say personally.
all the things that it can do and how efficient it is and how there are things that yeast can do that we can't understand yet. It's like there's a lot going on there that we have yet to understand. So I think that honestly, if we found yeast, a yeast microbial community or something on another planet, it would be really hard for us to wrap our heads around that. One, it would be really cool just to know that there's life that's everywhere in the universe, but then also like how our perception of intelligence would change.
Okay, I can't see the timer, but I know my time's running short, so I'm going to make one last question
Sure.
for you, and then I'll head down.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the example of yeast, I'm going to use kind of a parallelism and say a cell within my body, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't know it to be conscious. I don't know it to be intelligent, but I do know that it has a set of instructions and it's following it no different than I am on a chemical level because, like, I don't know if you've listened to Sapolsky out of Stanford, but he's the top neuropsychologist, and we've figured out that essentially our perception of what we think is our free will is actually, lagged behind by like 0.02 seconds of what our brain actually decides on its own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, peripheral versus central nervous system. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So then, my question is that do you think that perhaps like our disciplinary or deterministic definition of what intelligence is should be adjusted because perhaps my cell doesn't know that it's me, right? Because my brain is manifesting my consciousness, but on some level, that cell within me is me. It is absolutely me.
Yeah.
However, it's not all of me. Does that make sense? No different than the latent viral DNA that's part of me, but it's not actually me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's like that whole, like, how much of a ship can you replace until it's no longer a ship anymore? And like, is it a new ship? And it happens to us constantly. Our cells are constantly being redone. And I mean, that's what
That's even true of the human mind, though, because with each new experience, we're evolving and changing. Okay.
Because this is the singularity concept that Ray Kurzweil talks about, where it's like if all we are is a collection of neurotransmitter ratios in our brain, then therefore that ratio can be exported into a computer, and then that's how we could live forever. And that once that singularity happens, everyone will be able to be remembered or live on forever. So it's an interesting concept. I think that it is cool.
We'll see, and I think it's kind of encoded in some of like ancient philosophy. They call it as above, so below. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but it's the idea that like or in chaos math, you have Mandelbrot sets where you can zoom in infinitely, but there's certain power laws that are universal to every manifestation or like operating system or fractal that you choose to go down. All right, I'll leave it at that.
Dude, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in. That was good.
Good. I'm not a scientist, but I enjoy talking to you. So
yeah, dude.
Thanks for having me.
Dude. Thanks for requesting. All good. Have a good one.
Yeah, take care.
Sweet, dude. So we got a request. We got a request for a paper we're gonna read. Dude, thank you guys so much. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys. Thank you for everyone, the nice messages in chat. Okay, cool. Oh, nice, Mike. If I can call you Michael. Cool. Thanks, J-Light. See you again soon. Inshallah. Shalom. All right. That's interesting. The deep learning enabled antibiotic discovery through molecular de-extinction. I have put this into the show notes on the Discord, so if you want to follow along, this paper, every paper, all our primary research is all on the Discord, so it's check the link in my bio. That's all there. Okay. This is a 2024 paper in Nature Biomedical Engineering. This is Juan et al. So molecular de-extinction aims at resurrecting molecules to solve antibiotic resistance and other present-day biological and biomedical problems. So what can things that have gone extinct tell us or help us to understand what's happening? There's a lot of molecular mechanisms. There's a lot of proteins out there. But how do we know which ones are good or not, right? That's the big problem. There's so much out there. And interestingly, there's a lot of environmental DNA. So just in general, bacteria, think about bacteria not as necessarily an organism, but as a chassis where the chassis can uptake DNA from the environment and it runs all of that new DNA as a new part, and to see if any of it makes any sense. And then if that part makes sense and it does well, then that piece of bacteria proliferates and that it takes over the population. So it doesn't make sense in our human brain, in our human way of thinking, but in the span of a bacteria that's millions and millions in a very small amount, and the ability to horizontal gene transfer, which is the ability to spread DNA to your brother and sister, that is a quick and easy way to transfer proteins that they need, right? So environmental resistance genes, that heat shock proteins, all that kind of stuff, we can spread that to without having to have offspring. So it's just like a really interesting way that DNA is constantly being shared through bacteria. Here we show that the deep learning can be used to mine the proteomes. So proteomes is the genome, all the proteins that are created within a organism. Genome being the genes and proteomes being the proteins. So deep learning, that's another keyword. Deep learning means that we are trying to understand connections between data that we previously could not understand unless we have these type of it's a form kind of like of AI. It's under that computer science umbrella of ways that you can apply these new techniques. We trained ensembles of deep learning models consisting of a peptide sequence encoder coupled with neural networks. So again, neural networks is a way for, think of how a neuron is. Yeah, there's tons. Yeah, this is an abstract that's loaded with these terms. So neural networks, again, think of how like a neuron happens where you have one thing branching off to another thing, branching off to another thing, for the prediction of antimicrobial activity, and used it to mine 10 million peptides. So a peptide sequence encoder. So that means that they're looking at the sequence of the peptide and they're looking at the antimicrobial activity. So they're trying to see how would these do against a microbe? What are these peptides capable of doing? The models predicted 3,000 37,000 sequences with broad spectrum antimicrobial activity. So there was some way that they disrupted the microbe, be it cell synthesis, transcription, some molecular adaptation or use. And 11,000 of which were not found in extant organisms. So extant being things that are living, extinct mean things that are not. We synthesized 69 of these peptides, which is very important. That's a really good step that they're actually doing some biology wet lab in order to make sure that these things make sense. We synthesized 69 peptides and experimentally confirmed their activity against bacterial pathogens. Most peptides killed bacteria by depolarizing their cytoplasmic membrane. So they popped them. They went in their little sack. Think of the balloon, and they just popped the balloon. Contrary to known antimicrobial peptides, which tend to target the outer membrane. So there's different parts of how these things can be taken apart, and this was a unique way that they evolved in a different way than what we normally do. Notably, lead compounds, including mammoth-thusin 2 from the woolly mammoth, elophasin 2 from the straight-tusked elephant, and a giant sloth. Oh, dude, giant sloths are my favorite. Giant sloths are my favorite thing ever. Showed anti-infective activity in mice with skin abscesses or thigh infections. Let's read that again. Notably, lead compounds showed anti-infective activity in mice with skin abscess or thigh infection. So they were basically like a neosporin. That's cool. Molecular de-extinction aided by deep learning may accelerate the discovery of therapeutic molecules. It's a great conclusion. Giant sloths are real. They were like the size of bears, and they used to burrow into caves in North America. And they're actually the Joshua tree. That's actually how the Joshua tree was. They used to eat the fruits of the Joshua tree and spread the seeds of the Joshua tree. Look up the Joshua tree. It is incredible. One of my favorites, all of biology. So the extinction of the giant sloth meant that there is no longer a way for the Joshua tree to be spread. As a plant, you're limited, right? Your seed drops and right underneath you, and you need an organism in order to eat that and spread it. So all the Joshua trees are in an extinction event right now. And we have every single Joshua tree. It's an ecological experiment that's happening right now. The Joshua trees are going extinct, and we are tracking their GPS locations to know just how a species goes extinct. It's sad, but it's true. It is very cool. Very cool. Very, very cool. Oh, thank you, BGGG. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right. Reformism. You're up. Thanks for requesting. How's it going, man? Welcome.
It's going pretty well, actually.
Cool. Thanks for
Very well.
requesting.
But yeah, I do just got one question for you. You know, as like a political scientist, right? So
Okay.
I mean, we're seeing with like the MAGA movement, you know, all this like unscientific stuff, and I agree with all you guys, right? Like one of the big questions that needs to be addressed is like where like all these Indians are letting in, because like everybody knows that the Indians are like scientifically, like genetically inferior, and we need to stop all these MAGA Indians from preying on women, and we need to get rid of all these.
I don't know where that was going, guys. I don't know where that was going. So that was a little cringe alert. Cringe. Cringe is so strong. The cringe is so strong. Oh. Oh, so cringe. The cringe, guys. Oh, anyway, I got way weird. That was weird. I didn't. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. I tried to put the follower only for the requests, and I didn't want to. Sometimes I don't know. I like the fact that anyone can join and they can request up immediately, and I think that that's good. I don't like the fact that I kind of like give my platform to anyone that can like troll instantly. I do like having like the follow friction a little bit, but then less people request, and the whole point of these like requests and asked segments are good. Yeah, let's cleanse our palate. Michael, yeah, I'm sorry. I seen you're in there, bro. I just wanted to give other. Hey, Michael, thanks, man. I saw you, and I wanted to give someone else a chance. And
Man, I'm laughing. I'm laughing. You're such a nice guy. It's like I'm sitting here laughing. Like, what the hell's a MAGA Indian?
I know. It's a good
Yeah,
question.
I don't know where he was going with that,
Me neither, man.
but you don't need to cringe, or you just click.
Yeah. Oh,
Click.
thank you.
No, I mean these conversations are interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely interesting.
Nice, man. Good.
Why don't you talk about, which I think is like pertinent, is just simple antibiotic resistance, because I don't think people really understand that. Like when you have a bacterial infection, why it's so important to take the full course, and why we're developing antibiotic resistance so much. Like vancomycin resistant enterococcus and things
Yeah.
like that, that are killing people.
Yeah. So you basically, let's say, so antibiotic there are, as a bacteria, there are different drugs or proteins that can kind of go and target you for your resources, right? You are a living organism, and you have proteins that other organisms can use, and they want to kind of take that and as an attack and kind of take out another one. So there are yeasts, for example, that will compete for bacteria, and they will develop different types of proteins that will go and interfere with bacteria. So they will make a protein that it's excreted, and then it goes and disrupts the cell membrane that we were just reading about, or maybe it gets in and it creates some type of transcription factor that it's taking out, or it could be like an anti-CRISPR thing. So yeast will evolve, or viruses will evolve like a anti-CRISPR mechanisms where they can take over the defense mechanism of bacteria and make it kind of like the defense Gatling gun will like turn on them, and it'll hurt them. But in general, basically, mutations can exist inside of a population, and the genetic diversity within a population. So a populations evolve, not individuals. So as you have those mutations, you can create opportunities for other drugs. So maybe it'll be like a heat shock protein that's not normally used or necessary, but it'll actually, there's just enough kind of like steric hindrance, or the active site is just so that just with a couple of mutations you can actually create something that would interfere with that thing that's being attacked with, so the yeast is attacking the bacteria has a heat shock protein that isn't necessary right now, but maybe mutations can accrue and make it so that it actually binds to that antibacteria protein. And what happens is with antibiotics is you want to create and kill off the entire population, because if you don't, then you allow those genetic diversity to have a chance to evolve outside of that, that resistance. So and that's why where you have drug resistance bacteria coming from, because they basically you're giving it chance to proliferate and to evolve basically outside of it. So that's where MRSA comes from, and like all these other things. Yeah, and we're basically running out of antibiotics. Go ahead.
Actually, I think within the last month or 2 months, maybe 3 months, they developed the first new antibiotic. I want to say in the last 20 years.
Oh wow!
Did you know that? Like,
no,
because there's no money. You can Google it. I forgot what the antibiotic is, but there's no pharmaceutical companies have a real lack of desire to develop antibiotics. Did you find it?
Yeah, AI designs antibiotics for gonorrhea and MRSA superbugs. Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, I forgot what the new antibiotic is, but it's
maybe this is like seems very preliminary. Well, preliminary.
No, this is an FDA approved new.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Let me check that out. FDA. Right. Oh, there you go. It's called Gepotidacin.
Yes, exactly. But it's the first antibiotic approved in a long time, just because that there's a huge financial burden and so many of them fail. But the reason why I bring this up is because you said your wife has strep throat, and well, we're just talking like common things, but when people obviously need antibiotics, but when people don't take a full course of antibiotics and they stop after 3 days, 4 days because they feel better rather than taking a 7 to 10 day course, you select out resistant organisms, and that's how we develop antibiotic resistance. It's a real problem.
Yeah. Do you think how do you think, like, so as a microbiologist, antibiotics are good. You should take them, do the full course. Absolutely. I think this is kind of like a next generation kind of idea. Like, I'm curious your thoughts on like harboring and promoting gut microbiome health, and for like a targeted gene therapy approach, as opposed to kind of like a general antibiotic. I mean, it's impossible for us to know like how far that's off or anything like that. But have you heard about this? Are you excited about it?
I mean, everything is, it's been, what would you say, for the last 5 years, 7 years, the gut, but we also know that prebiotics and probiotics in certain populations are not good for you. Pregnant women, young children, immunocompromised people, because you can translocate them and actually become infected and get bacteremia from a probiotic that is benign in an immunocompromised patient. So I think manipulating the gut microbiome. An example is, and I wrote a paper. It's on my Substack, but it's a real entity, SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIBO. You guys can look it up, but I mean it's a real disease, not like some cockamamie that Jordan Peterson just said. Just like Jordan Peterson announced he's got some new, from mold exposure, cleaning out his father's house, and he's got to take some time off. And it was in the news yesterday. He's got something that's not recognized by science, but of course he's got it, and there's no treatment. But so SIBO is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So in the proximal bowel, which is supposed to be sterile, probiotics can contribute to it. you get and you test it by testing for methane and hydrogen gas, and the treatment is people complain of bloating, diarrhea. Those are the people who walk around and they're complaining, and you take an antibiotic called Xifaxan, also known as rifamycin, for 2 weeks, um, and it cures it. But it's related to a bacterial overgrowth in an area where there is not supposed to be bacteria. You see it?
Yeah.
SIBO. But I mean, it's a real disease. But even some GI guys just forget about it. When your patient comes in with bloating, they're like, "Oh yeah, just take antacids." But that's a perfect example of the gut microbiome being altered, and you're developing bacteria that's not supposed to be in a certain place.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting. I hadn't heard about that before. Thanks for bringing it up.
No, I mean, it's if you start asking around, like, to friends and stuff, I'm sure you've had people who say to you, I mean, my mother was like, "Oh, I'm so sick of feeling bloated,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, let's just do a SIBO, because you can actually buy it and test yourself at home. You drink some lactulose, and then you get the report, and your GI guy or your family prescribes antibiotics, but I mean, it's cured and their life's changed. But these are people who have long-term symptoms. So I think, getting back to it, I think if you alter the gut microbiome too much, bad things do happen. And there's a symbiosis I mean, we all have yeast, and bacteria, that live in harmony, symbiosis. So what are you reading about SIBO now?
Yeah. I was just looking at I put your Substack and the Mayo Clinic's SIBO page in the show notes. So
yeah.
I'll read it. I'll read it later for sure and do a segment on it. So, dude, thank you so much. I appreciate you
hey, will you
coming on.
will you follow? I followed you. Will you follow me and we can stay in touch?
Yeah, for sure, man.
I'll give you my cell phone or whatever, and we can geek out about stuff.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure, man. Let's do it.
You can give me some ideas to write about, because I write about everything.
Okay. Yeah, dude. I love your Substack. I was just browsing through it. So thank you.
I mean, I just wrote this paper about pedo. Look up Peto's paradox. You'll geek out about that. I wrote a paper on it, but PETO paradox.
Okay.
It's the concept of. Are you reading it?
Yeah.
What it is?
Yeah, it's the Peto's paradox is the observation that at the species level, the incidence of cancer does not appear to correlate with the number of cells in an organism. For example, the incidence of cancer in humans is much higher than the incidence of cancer in whales. Whoa. Despite a whale having 1,000 times more cells than a human. If the probability of carcinogenesis were constant across cells, one would expect whales to have a higher incidence of cancer than humans. Peto's paradox is named after the English statistician Peto, who first observed it. Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, but see, the paradox is bats, for example. Bats don't get cancer. Bats don't get cancer, and they're smaller than we are. Yeah,
that's wild.
I mean, I just wrote a paper on it on my Substack, but
dude,
check it out. You'll like sit there and you're just gonna be like, this is crazy. Elephants don't get cancer either.
I mean, I heard like naked mole rats and stuff didn't have cancer, but then they found that it was a cancer, but it was really slow incidences of cancer. So they're researching it still.
Yeah. I mean, the main thing is bats. That's why there's so much studying going on now with bats, because bats don't get certain diseases. They transmit, obviously, like whatever we can get. We're not going to get into the whole COVID thing, but they don't get infected, but they transmit, and bats don't get cancer. So so check. There are just a couple topics you can talk about on the show: SIBO, Peto's paradox.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I'll read through this and
yeah. So follow me, and then
yeah.
I'll give you my cell or whatever and my email. We can stay in touch.
Okay, yeah, dude, for sure. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right,
I'll
cool.
DM you.
I appreciate
I
talking to you.
appreciate you too, man. Thanks for being here and thanks for like joining the stream and requesting up and everything. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right, man. Have a good night. Okay.
Cool, dude. Guys, follow him. Follow Michael. That's so rad, man. That is such a cool community that we have. Yeah, follow him. Follow Michael Richmond, guys. It's so cool. I'm so happy. So happy. Okay. No M is Dreams and then Brooke. Oh, top of the hour, real quick, guys. Sorry, real quick. Sorry, I'm doing this thing now. No M's Dreams, don't go anywhere. Thank you so much to our top gifters, Jen, Sheepanoodle, Maris, Don. Thank you guys. Just remember to follow, and the best way to support the stream is to subscribe, please. Thank you for 1 like or 1,000. However much you're doing, thank you so much for staying involved on that. There's a link tree in my bio that has all the ways that you can stay connected and contribute. There's $5 super chats if you really want for me to have a question and you want me to read your article. I can do that on stream. There's also a link to the Discord, and that's where all the show notes are, the primary sources, and we're discussing science there. Also in the link tree is my YouTube live archive. So if you need to take a break, mental health break, please do, and follow the show later on YouTube Live, on the YouTube. And also on my link tree is my publications. So if you're curious about what I've done or what I published, or you're interested in algae nanotechnology, you're the second person in the world that is going to read my stuff. That'd be awesome. So, all right. Now that that's over. Okay. No M's Dreams. Welcome. How's it going?
Can you hear me? It's kind of hard to hear it with the echo.
I can hear you.
Okay. So anyways, I came on your show before and I'm just really impressed with how many followers you've had in months. Some people work at it.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I've been doing this. This is my first week of doing like streaming every day, and it's like 2 weeks of just doing the live, and my account's only like a month old, and it's just been, I'm so overwhelmed and with all the positivity and everything. It's incredible. I'm really, thank you guys. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, commenting on the last guy who's you have such intelligent guests on here. I don't really feel qualified to speak other than the kids in virology getting their doctorate. And we didn't even know what that was for 4 years. So yeah, it's just really crazy the knowledge that you're bringing to the surface of just everything from gene therapy. If anyone's been gene tested, I have been for mental health because they were prescribing my allergy, Benadryl. So yeah, I've been through it. And then back to his conversation, I just wanted to add in where he thinks everybody's getting stuff from antibiotics. And I realize he's got like a big study, so I'm not going to argue that at all. I'm just going to say not everybody's hurting from that. But I think people who are overloaded with prescription drugs suffer from that because I've seen it happen to my sister over in, 5 states away where she had MRSA and this antibiotic resistance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, check your diet. Well, I can't afford to eat like you. And there's always a comparison game with different populations. And also, when my kid went to college, she went out of her Latina household and started eating things her gut wasn't used to.
Yeah.
And I'm a person with GERD from vomiting over those meds for 7 hours, and it kind of ruptured my sternum. So I have a lot of experience through being the lab rat of an injury that I've survived. And it's so funny because the average person could look at my page and see like suggestive video, but none of the men see the disability or the struggle that people face after, an injury, 7 spine surgeries,
Oh, dang.
etc., etc. So I'm not here to ring my bell. I'm just terribly interested in the cures, and I lean more towards homeopathic things than the prescription thing, because the prescription thing is a catch and a fight. They want you there to prescribe you every 4 weeks, or, with the old insurance, it was every 90 days. So recently I've had to go back to my other medical doctor in the divorce and switch back insurances, and the care is so different. And it's a mind bender because there's no rule book. There's no rule book to, okay, you have a retirement, but you're supposed to burn through it to qualify for your medical care with Medicaid. And it's a real conundrum of, society. And I listened to my neurosurgeon tell me it's a socioeconomic problem before, things went personally sideways. And we're not even going to tap on that. That would be a totally different direction than, your conversation. But I find you fascinating, and I find your supporters very intelligent. And I'm just really happy to tune in at night and, have the conversation with my mom. She's an elderly person, and, just seeing people that check your supplements. And the most recent thing I'm going to tell you I came into health-wise is my ex changed out all our salt in like 2016. And nobody knows the harm maybe that could do if your thyroid's susceptible, where you've had both sides of the thyroid disorder and you've been in having your blood pull every 4 weeks. And I'm sitting there saying to my doctor, how could a nutritionalist, how could anyone, even my thyroid doctor, miss asking what my salts were? Because they all assume that you get it through processed foods. And I've had a gastric, so I use iFlora, I use supplements, and then there's the yeast issue that circles back. You have to watch those gut bacteria supplements, because you said it in a different live where they can be filled with yeast. So then I'm checking my supplements. And now we're following up with a supplement. Vitamin nutritionalist again went to her clinic just for better gut health. Like, we've all been stressed out for a couple of years, and stress causes gut problems. And I've seen it in my child. He's only 19. And I've seen it all the way from me to my mom being tested for all this GERD. And, she has a high nasal hernia. I don't. Mine's been stress-induced and diet of just probably not eating at all during a 2-year crap show. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many factors that come into this topic that it's just not fair to say antibiotics are wrecking society, and people, I agree with them. People don't take their full course. I catch my mom doing it. I catch my kid doing it. And I'm like, make sure and finish that if they're prescribed antibiotics, because they always think they're going to save them for later. It's crazy. And I'm just like, take the whole thing.
I mean, everyone, I guess my big question is, people talk about the perverse incentive in pharmaceuticals for that profit motive kind of driving them to, create these drugs. And I guess my question to you would be like, do you think that the supplement companies have that same perverse incentive?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
It's like a double-edged sword. You can overdo or underdo either side of it. And you can't go all like, oh, I'm going to listen to my doctor and take every prescription they suggest, when you've already done the panel and then you get told, oh, well, I don't like to use that panel. Well, that's when you should run. And that's when a patient should just get up and be like, thank you very much, and leave. And I've had to teach my son in just general doctors that he had the right to not jive with that doctor. We will go see another primary doctor until you get one you're comfortable with. And I don't think our society in America, I think they just go to a doctor and believe them because they're a doctor. And that's not really the best cure for a patient because you have to narrow it down to a 15-minute interval.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you
if
really do
you
have to
have a
advocate for yourself.
history,
And I do think it's tough. I mean, I recently switched my PCP to a sports and family doctor, which was really interesting. They basically did all the healthcare for the San Diego Olympic team, or like there's a San Diego like place where all the Olympians train, and so they go there, and there's like a bunch of just sports people and elderly people that are like fit, like it's just wild going in there, and everyone's kind of staying healthy and active. And that I've never felt a doctor's office like this. And I'll go in with like a jujitsu related injury or something like that, and they'll just they get it. They're like, okay, you got the tournament coming up. Let's get you healthy and make sure you're going. And it's just really cool to be able to have a sports and an active lifestyle focused physician, that understands and pushes that. And I think it's also I mean, imagine being a physician though on the other side, a family medical doctor, where you're talking to people constantly and telling them that, hey, this is what you need to do. You're morbidly obese, and they don't want to listen, or they don't want to lose weight, or they don't listen to their, they don't listen to the physician, and they just go off whatever they find on Google. And I think that you can kind of see their frustration and why they just kind of prescribe you what you want in order to be happy, because it's like, you either, am I doing harm by prescribing you something that that you want, that you say you need? It's like, well, maybe they don't need it, maybe they do, but at least they're getting something, and they're going to come back to me as a physician. Otherwise, they're never come back. So it's like, you could almost have more harm by people just completely checking out of the medical system altogether and going to like a chiropractor, for example, which is really common for like a lot of the
oh my gosh, I did the
anti-vaccine people.
chiropractor thing, and it was
Yeah.
I can say I have over 120 visits.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't until I got to acupuncture that I found real healing for neuropathy pain and maybe avoiding a surgery. And people don't realize what acupuncture does either. Because it retrains the nerves around the damage to make your muscles react around it instead of try to go through it. And to me, that's what neuropathy is. Now, there's several kinds of neuropathy. And then when they did injections on me, and the doctor, my physiatrist, is saying, Amy, what's neuropathy feel like, when he's doing an injection through a scope? And I'm like, you don't know?
Yeah.
And he says it's very different for every person. And I know it is, because my mom's neuropathy is just in her feet, the pins and needles from abuse. And mine is from surgeries of multiples. So my neuropathy sets off where an injury is.
Dang.
And it can go through your stomach. It can go really out of control through your body. And then you're like freaking out thinking you're going to have another spine surgery. And your neurosurgeon is completely confused, because by then it's the anti-anxiety meds of hydroxyzine to Wellbutrin to Prestique. And if Benadryl's your allergy, you're just wondering why they're telling you this. And you have to leave the office.
Yeah.
You have to make that advocate choice for yourself that, oh, I listened to you and I did 30 days and then I did 60, and he kept upping it and upping it. to the point I couldn't form a sentence, and that's not okay. That's bad, you know.
It's tough. It's tough. And then now, I mean, imagine being a physician when you have this administration with RFK just pushing out disinformation, just straight up disinformation. You know, like there's going to be people
so much
that are going to be like
insane.
the disinformation's coming from the actual government that's supposed to tell you what is okay and not. So you're going to have actual HHS disinformation printouts going to physicians and being like, is this safe for me to do with my kid? Is a vaccine safe? And being that physician being like, yeah, it is, but you shouldn't listen to this guy for this reason. You should get vaccines. And it's just, you know, now it's just so rampant. They put and seeded distrust into these organizations and this institution for so long, but now they've gotten what they wanted, right? Where now they can put it out there and not be held accountable for any of the deaths that they're causing. And it is people that are, I know people get mad when I say this, but I'm sorry, but you know, the people that push out disinformation like RFK are directly doing harm to people. They are. The people that spread in misinformation, they're misinformed. I think that they have a chance to be, you know, learn and be better, and we shouldn't castigate those people because they're being taken advantage of and they're literally having their health hurt because they're misinformed. But the people like RFK that create and push disinformation are irredeemable in my eyes, and because they are maliciously pushing out disinformation that is hurting people. So I think that is the distinction, and we have to make we have to just, you know, make we have to fight at some point about it, you know. But thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. Brooks, have been waiting, and so thank you so much for requesting up. And
one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely.
Also, when you go to smaller communities, like I went and got my mom in Wyoming, and you go to smaller communities, and my niece is a traveling RNA, and she refuses to take the COVID vaccine. But she'll take the 3 days off every time she tests positive.
Oh my
and
gosh.
She's working with elderly people. And I think it's just very wrong. Me and my mom have opinions on it. And I'm like, hey, if you're going to do a traveling nurse gig, nurses come in from other countries, nurses come in from everywhere. And I don't think it's okay that you can work in the care business and spread disinformation about the mRNA. Like, they don't get it. They do not understand. And it's just blind recklessness. And
exactly.
I'm thinking, what if you harmed a patient because you refused to get the vaccine?
Yeah.
And they're elderly and they're in a home.
And we know that she could spread it asymptomatically. I mean, that's the whole thing, right? You can have SARS-CoV-2 positive an infection and not have COVID-19 symptoms, just like how you can have HIV but not have AIDS. So, you know, she could have no symptoms and still be spreading it to someone that could kill them legitimately. And that's the danger. And that's when
mind the 3 days off on a positive test.
That's only when she's testing with symptoms, though, and that's the problem. You know, it's like. So anyway, if you wanted to recommend, she could contact me on or offline, or you know, if she wants.
We're just not speaking.
I understand.
I understand. People and family because they live in little communities, and I'm taking care of mom.
Yeah,
nobody stepped up for that job, so
gotcha.
You know, our household needs each other, from the 19-year-old to the 59-year-old to the 81-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look out for one another. You're doing a good thing.
Each other, and that's the way family should be.
Exactly.
And I really don't have time to argue with the family that doesn't want to snap in line on that.
Well, send them to me. I can talk to them offline, off stream, all that kind of stuff. Oh, no TikTok. No, we could just give them my number and we can call, or if she has any questions, it's all good.
They're too bold to take the information.
Okay. Well, you know,
it's easier to call family names.
It's one step at a time.
A little bit of knowledge.
Well, thank you so much for jumping in. I really appreciate you. So you're welcome to join anytime.
Have a great night.
Awesome. You too. Thank you. All right. Brooke, I'm sorry. I saw you jump in and then jump out. So if you wanted to request right now, let me know. There's one other person in queue, Chungus Fungus. I'm excited. Maybe he's Pro Fungus, little microbiology guy. Excited, maybe. Let's see. Okay. All right, let's see. Chungus Fungus, how's it going? Welcome.
Good.
What do you want to talk about?
Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, I can't see you. It's a green screen.
Oh, dude, that's crazy. That's the second time that's happened today.
Oh, man. I saw what you were wearing earlier, though. I wanted to ask about that.
Okay, cool.
Why do you look so handsome?
Yeah, dude, I just want to present myself professionally here, I care about being here, and I think it's like a respectable thing to do,
Whoa, are you flirting with me?
All right, guys. Anyway, so okay, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I thank you. I appreciate it. But let's we're trying to do something here. So it's kind of disrespectful to jump into. I appreciate it in comments. Like I thank you. The text, I agree. Thank you. It's very nice, but jumping into the request to So anyway, thank you though. I appreciate it. Yeah, exactly, Dr. T. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Honestly, my throat is really hurting. Yeah, do great. It's okay though. I appreciate it. It's funny, it's really crazy is I probably do because my wife does. All my life I was made fun of for my looks. I was like, for my freckles and stuff. I was like, elementary school, I was like mercilessly bullied. I didn't have like any friends. And people used to make fun of me all the time. So it is crazy. I didn't have like any girlfriends in high school or middle school. Wasn't until like I went to community college that I had a girlfriend, and a real girlfriend. And so it's very weird. It's very weird that this is what it is. It was only my mom for the longest time. And I was like, Mom, you're supposed to say that. You're supposed to say that. So it's pretty wild. So it is funny. I appreciate the comments. Chungus Fungus is back. I don't know if we should let him. What do you guys think? It's up to chat. Chungus Fungus, it's up to chat, dude. We're going to give chat. Do we give Chungus Fungus a second chance? Let's see here. Do we give him a chance? Guys? A second chance? Oh no, it went away. Let's see, guys. Let's see. Yes. You're 1-1, dude. Crying is no. Laughing is yes. Laughing is we're laughing it off. Crying is no. I do cry. What do you guys think? We're laughing it off, or are we it's not okay and we're crying about it? What do you think? What do you guys think? What do we do? We give them a minute? It's tied. It's tied. All right, people are laughing about it. Okay, if we're laughing about it, then we can. If we're laughing it off, it's okay. We're giving them another chance. How's it going, dude?
What's up?
What's your question? Do you have any ideas or something we want to talk about?
Well, I was writing a poem for you in the time that we spent apart.
Okay. What's it? What is the poem?
Your hair is winter fire, January embers. My heart burns there too.
Okay. All right. Thank you,
You
dude.
like it?
I appreciate you.
And I'm never gonna dance again.
Thank you.
Guilty feet have got no
Thank you.
rhythm.
Thank you, dude. Okay. All right, guys. All right. We need to screen. We need a screener. We need to like have a application process. Okay. I do want to get earlier bedtime. I've been going to bed like at 2:00. Science paper. We're all out, dude. We're all out. Okay. You know what? We actually have. I have one more. I do have one more. Duque, you're right on. All right, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna go. I'm gonna crash too. I know, right? I feel like crashing. Okay, since we might lose some of you, I just want to show. Okay, real quick before we go into the next the thing. Thank you so much, Jen, Sheepadoodle, Mary's Dawn, for the love and support and gifting in the stream. Thank you so much. Remember to follow and the best way that you can support the channel and support the stream is subscribing. Thank you for one gift, or one like or 1,000, however much you do. There's a link tree in my bio that has $5 super chats if you want me to read that. Or there's a Discord link. So join the conversation. That's where my show notes are, my primary sources, where we can discuss science. There's also my YouTube live archive and the link tree. So if you want to take a mental health break, you can do that. And a list of my publications. So this is a new segment stuff that we are doing, which is different. I'm trying to bring in more science so we can talk about articles. Top of the hour. This is the third one, so I'm excited. Thank you, Duque, for reminding me that I had one all planned out. This is one, so we got this. This is it. Second scene. New scene. Here it is. We're going over. Boom. All right. So this is this. But then here we go. This is pretty cool, actually. I actually really like this one. So this is really interesting. So this is a new thing in Science Mag. Survey of 5 Australian avians find numerous discordant individuals, including a genetic male bird that laid an egg. Pretty interesting. Pretty cool. There's a lot of gametogenesis, it's called, where you can kind of like have clownfish, for example, go from they're male until the female, the largest one, dies, and then the largest male actually become the female of that anemone family. So there is a lot of reversal and changing that does happen in in nature. Very cool. So this is the article. If you want to follow along, it's in the show notes in today's date. So when it comes to telling males and females apart, many bird species reject subtlety altogether. Roosters stand out thanks to their big, bright comb and ear-splitting cock-a-doodle-doos, but bachelor birds of paradise flaunt their vibrant plumage to attract more subdued females. And the male peacock's feathered train is so ostentatious it famously threw even Darwin for a loop. But that's not the case for all species of birds. When males and females look pretty much the same, scientists must try harder, often using DNA testing to separate the sexes. According to a new study of wild Australian birds, these methods may be leading to misidentification in cases where an individual's gonads and outward appearance don't align with the genetic sex determined by its chromosomes. As scientists reported in Biology Letters, this phenomenon, known as sex reversal, may be more common than anyone expected. So it's really interesting, just the idea that you can actually have a male and female looking very similar happens mostly in environments where there's enough resources that the sexual selection doesn't necessarily have to happen. So when in a place that is extremely competitive and very low resources, you have really, really strong sexual selection. So that's why the males will do these dances and the plumage, because they're basically saying, I have enough resources in order to do this versus everyone else. And basically the female has all of the resources to make that egg, right? A sperm is a lot easier to make and make a lot of than a huge, very, very costly, very, very hard to make egg. So that basically is the evolutionary drive of what actually happens. This discovery is likely to, quote, raise some eyebrows, says Blanche Capel, a biologist at Duke University who wasn't involved in the new work. Although sex determination is often viewed as a straightforward process, she explains, the reality is much more complicated. In humans, individuals with XX chromosomes typically develop as female, whereas those with XY are usually male. But Judith Mink, a zoologist of the University of British Columbia, notes its genes carried on those chromosomes, not the chromosomes, that are the main players. The SRY gene on the Y chromosome, for example, kickstarts male development in mammals. Anyone missing this key gene will end up developing a female, even if they have XY chromosomes. We think of sex chromosomes as being sex determining, says Mink, who also wasn't involved in the new research. That's not true. And you also have a thing called X chromosome silencing. So that's really interesting. So if someone is XX, both of those chromosomes aren't going to be turned on. They're actually, one of them is going to be silenced and one of them is going to be dominant. So there's a lot of research going on into XXX, XXY, XXX, XY, and trying to figure out how that type of chromosome silencing happens. What's more, it can matter how these genes are expressed on a cell-by-cell basis. In some species of fruit flies and zebrafish and chickens, individual cells have their own sexual identity based on the genes they happen to contain or express, rather than being influenced by the body's overall hormone levels. When different cells contain different sets of chromosomes, this process can give rise to individuals called gynandromorphs, which exhibit both male and female characteristics. Environmental factors can also complicate sex determination. Turtle eggs that incubate at cooler temperatures, for example, produce male hatchlings, whereas turning up the heat churns out females. Although rare in birds, this phenomenon has been seen in brush turkeys, which incubate their eggs in enormous mounds. And this is actually having a huge problem with climate change. So as we raise the temperature, turtles are turning more of one gender. It's not good. It is not a good thing. As a result, scientists have known for a long time that there are other external factors that go into the development of sex characteristics in birds, says study senior author Potvin, an animal ecologist at the University of Sunshine Coast. Even so, it was unclear how often birds have the physical features of one sex but the genetic makeup of the other. To find out, Potvin's team dissected and examined the bodies of nearly 500 birds belonging to 5 common Australian species. The Australian magpie, laughing kookaburra, crested pigeon, rainbow lorikeet, and scaly-breasted lorikeet. All the animals had died after being admitted to wildlife hospitals in Queensland because of unrelated illness or injury. In addition to identifying the birds' reproductive organs, researchers also tested their DNA to reveal their genetic sex. The team was surprised to find sex reversal individuals in all 5 species at rates of 3 to 6%. Whoa, that's nuts. That is so high. That is crazy. So like 1 in 20? That is insane. Nearly all these discordant birds were genetically female but had male reproductive organs. However, the researchers also found a few genetic males with ovaries, including a genetically male kookaburra with a distended ovum, indicating it had recently laid an egg. Wow. The findings suggest sex reversal is more common in wild birds than previously thought, which may have implicated for the conservation of threatened species. It's often important to know how many males and females there are in a population because sex ratios influence the population's ability to reproduce, grow, and sustain itself. If you're going off the genetic sex ratio, Potvin says, you may end up being surprised. Capel, for her part, isn't sure the rate of sex reversal found in the new study would be high enough to hamper a bird's population's ability to survive and reproduce. Even so, the findings suggest researchers' DNA-based methods of identifying bird sex in the wild are less accurate than once thought. In addition, knowing the wild bird's baseline rates of sex reversal could help scientists gauge when rates are unnaturally high, possibly because of the endocrine disrupting chemicals in the environment. Now that we know discordance occurs, the next big question will be, what is driving this discordance in birds, says Claire Howley, an environmental biologist of Australia's Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization, who wasn't involved. Is it chemicals? Is it environmental stress, or some other factor that can alter the developmental trajectories? Potvin hopes these findings will inspire scientists in other regions of the world to study sex reversal in a wider range of bird species, as well as investigate the brains of discordant individuals. Potvin's work primarily focuses on birdsong, so she wonders how sex reversal might impact vocalization, especially in species where only the males can carry a tune. Quote, we know a lot about the physiology, she says. We don't know how it impacts the individuals and especially the populations as a whole. All right, cool, dude. That's so cool. You guys all stuck around. I appreciate you. This is so cool. So that's it. What do you guys think? Do you like these? Do you like that? Is it okay? Do you like these things? I'm going to do these at the top of every hour. Thank you, Gloomy. Thank you. You like them? Sweet. Awesome. Dude, thank you guys. Awesome. Yeah, let's do some science article reading. I want to make sure that we're getting some new information, not just circling around COVID. Thank you. Our first subscriber ever to the channel, KLN33 to SD. Thank you. Thank you so much. Guys, be cool like KLN. Subscribe to the channel. I'm just saying. She's like the coolest because she's the first one. So I'm just saying. All right, guys, this is it. Bird talk. It's all about bird law, man. And Jen, Jen, legendary subscriber. Look at these. They're all in the chat, guys. This is amazing. So real quick, to end the show, thank you so much to the top gifters. Top 5, Jen, Sheepadoodle, Ducray, Dr. T, Nico, Maiden, Power Sidem, Gloomy Moss, Jody Gregg, Life is Dada, Michael got in there, No Emma's Dreams, Peaches was here, legendary, Peaches is so awesome, Augie Dog, Jen Lynn, thank you guys for everything, I appreciate you. Remember, the best way to support the stream is with a subscription. Thank you guys for doing that. And whether or not it's 1 like or 1,000 likes, let's see how many we got. Dude, 85,000? Is that serious? You guys did 85. That's insane. That is insane, guys. I'm so blown away. That is so cool. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you. It really just helps us get out more. Thank you so much. In my profile, there's a link to. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Peaches. Thank you. Thank you so much that's so kind of you to say. Thank you. There's in my link in my bio. There's a link. Join the Discord, guys. Join the Discord. That's where my show notes are. You can see and follow along with all these awesome new the articles and stuff, and we can discuss science. And there's also a YouTube link to all the lives that we have done. It's crazy. It's crazy. This is 1 week. We've missed one day, like 3 or 4 days ago, but we've done 6 shows in the last 7 days. It's been absolutely wild. And there's also my link to all my publications there, the PDFs. There's no paywalls. I know, 85,000. That's crazy. I can't believe we hit 2,500. There's no way. There's no way, guys. That's it. This is kind of the post show hangout, chill, post show chillin'. Tamara just invited me to co-host. I don't know what this is. Okay, let's try it out. What's going on here? I don't know what this is.
Greg!
Hi.
Hey, Greg!
Oh, what's up? Oh my gosh, what's happening? Hi.
What's up?
How's it going?
We're good.
Pretty good. We're
Sick.
doing pretty good right now.
So what topics are you debating? We're ready.
Oh, we just did sex reversal in birds, which is kind of cool. It happens at 5% of bird species. We had no idea that happened at such a high rate. Isn't that cool?
Damn. What topic do you want to
Do you debate like specific topics, or is it more like, randomly generated type topics? Like what?
Oh, I mean, I'm a scientist, so anyone can ask me anything. You want to.
That's where the doctor comes from.
See, that's where you lose me. I don't know much about science.
No, she's studying biology, so.
Oh, cool. What's your major?
Right
me, I'm.
She's biochemistry.
Oh, yeah, dude, that's awesome. Are you undergrad?
Yeah, it's kind of tough right now. I'm kind of
Nice.
struggling. I'm going into my sophomore year.
Dude, good for you. Biochem is awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's nice. It's kind of hard right now. I hear sophomore.
What's the hardest part about it?
I hear sophomore year right now. My labs are kind of a pain. That's for sure. Other than that, though, it's pretty chill. I mean, there's not much to it.
Wow. Yeah, that's really cool. What do you want to do with a biochem degree?
Well, didn't you want to be a physicist first? Oh my god. Okay. A physicist first.
I don't know.
And then work at a doctor's office.
Okay. All right. I know what's going on there. I think she saved me. All right, guys. That was cool. I've never done a co-host thing. I don't know, Nico. I don't know, man. I don't know. Hopefully everything was all yeah. That was cool that they're doing biochem. I think that's really cool. I know. Dude, so let's see. Wow, you guys are right. 2,500 followers. This time last week, guys, we were at like 350. So it's been wild. Dude, Jen, you're incredible. Thank you so much. 10,000 likes. Oh my gosh. Like this time last week, we were at like 300 followers, and it's just been unbelievable. Like the stats on this page, it's like plus 1,000%, 2,000, 8,000%. Like it's just insane. I thank you so much. Okay, don't hurt yourself. Oh, thank you, Jay. Thank you. I live in San Diego. yeah, so I mostly work with like yeast and bacteria, and then but my PhD work and my research before was on algae. So I trying to make algae biofuels more renewable, sustainable, allowing that kind of stuff. And yeah, so it's microbes are fun because I like to change genomes around. I like to change genes, insert genes, learn about them, that kind of thing. So it's a cool way to make new things. I'm working, going back to school and learn about. Oh, cool. Oh man, should we have like a whole algae stream? Could we have an algae stream, guys? Would you want that? Oh, Jen, you like that? Okay, because I changed things around. Like again, guys, I'm posting in the Discord, like kind of like my show notes, what I'm thinking about. So I'm changing the stream up a little bit. I wanted to try to have fun a little bit more, create more lightheartedness. I don't want to just be, I don't know, I'm feeling more comfortable here with this show and everything, and it's been really fun. So I got like some camera effects lined up. I got that bad anti-vaxxer that drops like that weird thing. I got a sound clip for that. We got that ready to go. Thanks, Life is Data. Yeah, man, I was basically a science correspondent on Twitch streams before, and so I wanted to kind of like, this is my own stream for the first time. Kind of, I tried before, but nobody would join, guys. I would be all by myself on Twitch for hours. So it's actually wild to have so many people in here genuinely and talking to you guys. It's wild for so long. It was just a couple of people, and this makes me feel appreciated, and just thank you so much. Yeah, Trump wants to be a dictator, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't think that TikTok's going to go anywhere, I don't think it's going to. Yeah, I mean, most of the time the guests, it's like nonstop. So it's actually me kind of like putting not a stop to it, but kind of like pushing, because a lot of times people will come in, and the amount of people that are like debating COVID and evolution. Honestly, I'll be real. I wasn't expecting the amount of people still debating evolution. I mean, I obviously understand that Christian apologetics stuff is out there, but it's pretty wild for me to see all them like out so strongly. And so I've always thought that was kind of weird. What's the most important issue we should be concerned about within the human body? Oh man, I mean, as a microbiologist, I love the gut microbiome, how it's connected to the brain. That gut-brain connection is so big. The community guidelines are becoming weird. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what the changes are. I'll have to check that out. Let's see. Let me ask ChatGPT. What are the TikTok community guidelines changing to coming up? Are you left, right, or center? Just curious. I'd really try not to be ideological if you really want. I don't want you to follow my train of thought. I don't want you to follow and copy my positions. I don't think that I'm right just because I'm either of those. I hate labels. I want you to not what I think, but how I think about stuff. I think that's more important than like, where are you? I think that's kind of a huge problem with politics right now, is everyone's so labely. Got to be a label. And once you have that label, then you carry that ideological banner. And I hate that. I hate carrying banners. I hate having to, say I'm this, so therefore I'm that, I like to just, but But I mean, I can tell you like who I voted for. Like I voted against George W. Bush in 2004. I made the cutoff by like a week, which was incredible. Volunteered for Obama's campaign in 2008. I door knocked in Nevada. I drove 10 hours up to Nevada to door knock in rural Nevada, guys. I had people threaten my life a couple times. And that was pretty wild, but I did that for like 12 hours over 2 days, door knocked over like 200 people. And, yeah, it was a crazy district. It was 3. So it was a combat House district, and the Senate was up for in Nevada, and obviously Harris. So, it was wild. Like some of them were so remote, and I would just be driving like 15 minutes for this person. And then I would come and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe the Democratic Party is like out here and visiting me." Like they were so like blown away, because they felt like they're the only Democrats living in Nevada, and it was really cool, like connecting with those people. They were really nice, and I mean, I drove like 20 minutes out of my way just to see one person, and they were there, so it was pretty wild. Some people were not so happy about it. Wanted me to get the hell out of there. One guy came up to me and was like, because I didn't wear a Harris shirt, and just because of that, I didn't want to attract any bad attention, but I did have my American flag bandana on my head. And then he was like, "Oh, you better have been from the Harris campaign or I would have shot you." And I was like, "Whoa, well, I'm glad you didn't do that." So yeah, in rural California too. It's true. Yeah. My politics are mutual respect and conversations and human rights. I don't need a label for that. Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. Oh no, dude, San Diego's gotten a lot better. It's not so Republican anymore, I don't think. Okay, here are the community guidelines that are changing. Let's see. Simpler layout, new rules at a glance. Live got stricter. Uh-oh. So you're responsible now for anything that happens on your live, including third-party tools, which is TTS, auto-translate, new clarity on commercial content during live. That makes sense to me in the fact of like, I mean, I didn't want to do TTS for that reason. I wanted to do, that's the reason why I did the super chats the way I did it. Because it's just like, oh dude, Jody, Craig, thank you so much. You guys are killing it. Jen, oh my gosh, you're amazing. Wow, I can't believe you. Yeah, I wanted to do I wanted to do super chats for that reason. I didn't want to do TTS because it seems weird. Commercial disclosure, shot bias. I would never do that. I don't think. Personalization called out. Search results and comments are now explicitly personalized. AI synthetic media wording tightened. Ban reframed to AI content that's misleading. That's good. Use TikTok's AI label for fully or synthetically AI generated edits. Oh, that's crazy. There's so many like services now that allow you to do AI edits. That's crazy that they would do that. The FYF for you eligibility info moved. The long FYF in ineligible list is no longer in one place. Quick to do for creators: turn on commercial disclosure whenever applicable. Audit live setup, so mute, monitor TTS or translation bots. I don't have those. Label AI when content is fully or significantly AI generated. Reskim misinformation bullying sections. That's good, honestly. It's actually really kind of, I don't agree with a lot of the hate raids and bullying and doxing that happens on TikTok, guys. I do think that's bad. So I think that there is It's not good, man. You got to have place, at least here, you got to have people willing to be honest with themselves and honest with their opinions, and without fear of like losing their job or, it's not okay. Because they're gonna have those views anyway, right? This is what we've learned with the anti-vax people during COVID. Like, you can push those people away, but you castigate someone, and who are they going to go to? They're going to go to the people that they're castigated with. They're not going to, think, oh man, well now I'm gonna change my view. They don't do that. So. I do think, like, if someone is explicitly pushing, you know, the worst of society and stuff, and explicitly making hateful content, then, obviously, if they're recording a hate crime, then it's obviously different. But someone that's legitimately trying to talk through or nuance their position through, I think that you kind of have to give people kind of give them a chance to explore that. Because if you don't engage in those ideas, people they're gonna go talk to someone else about it. But I don't think that everyone should have to have those conversations too. That's the other thing, right? I don't think that every queer person has to sit there and justify their existence for every Republican. You know what I mean? That's like ridiculous. But I think that obviously, like in a democracy, debate is important. I really do think that is really important. I know. See, Jen, I'm telling you, he was totally different, wasn't he? And I do look at, you can see who is in your chat, and he's here for hours. So he's like watching. Yeah, he is here, so it's kill him with kindness. That's what my mom always used to say to my bullies and stuff. So it has a hidden reporting system. Interesting. I know. Yeah, Nico, that's a really good point. I mean, it is, I think scientists are uniquely exposed unless you are going completely anonymous, because we have to have our publications out there. You have to have our names. And so I think that we are uniquely exposed, unfortunately. And I've gone over it, but yeah, I was the victim of the QAnon conspiracy hate raid, and the lab that I was in was in the in the QAnon conspiracy, and we're the victim of that stuff. So it's crazy. It's crazy. But I mean, they legitimately think that you are what's wrong in the world, and they're coming after you, trying to shut you down. Dude, flat Earth is one of those. I don't even. It's that is legitimately one of those like questions. If it really comes down to what you believe and why you believe it, because that is one that's a foundational belief. Like if you think the sky is fake, there is so much that you don't believe that you really are down. Yeah, exactly, Jen. You're down some really gnarly rabbit holes, some gnarly ones. Well, because of what's his face, the 10th Planet guy. God, I'm blanking on his name. Eddie Bravo. Yeah, exactly, Nico. Yeah, dude. It's ironic, dude. He named his thing 10th Planet, but he thinks that the skies are fake. It's like, what is that? And obviously, like, I'm not gonna join that gym. As a scientist, like, I want to be proud of putting like my gym stuff on and wearing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I want to be proud of the logo and stuff, man. And it is important for me to have people that I can look up to. That's also like my kids' coaches. These are going to be influential people in their lives going forward. And I think that it's really important. Dude, you guys, Jen, you're incredible. I can't. You're so. Yeah, dude. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys. How do you get from Russia to... Dude, did you guys see someone actually created an AI deep fake video of explorers at the edge of the earth, and they are like they're there, and they have like a fake edge of the earth, and they're actually like spelunking down the side of the wall. They're like, this is where it is. There's like a river that's just going off into space. It is like, oh my, this is gnarly. This is so dangerous. Dude, oh my gosh, look at that. On my page, it says 0.1 M. I've never seen that before. That's incredible. Dude, that is wild. Thank you guys so much. It is. Dude, it is getting insane. Man, thank you guys so much for the likes and everything. You guys are incredible. 101,000. Thank you guys. Wild. That's so cool. AI is dangerous. It's like, and it's awesome, but then it's also really dangerous. Do you have a favorite algae? Oh man, I mean, it would have to be Chlamydomonas reinhardti. I mean, that's the one that I've worked with the most. You know, Chlammy is the one where everything came from, guys. That's where the electron transport chain pump came from, the mitochondria, that whole thing. I mean, you've seen it in all your textbooks, the gear. Do we allow guests up? I'm wrapping up, and so I'm just tired. I'm just kind of like this, like the after stream Q&A. Cyanoalgae, yeah, cyanobacteria are cool. They're like prokaryotic. I mean, basically chloroplasts are endosymbiotic cyanobacteria. I do not wear a mask. I mean, you should for your health and for health of others. Honestly, you should. I would now, because I have a sore throat, and I think I might have strep. So I would if I was around. But honestly, man, like I do jujitsu, and like my morning starts with like some dude's sweat getting right all on me. The sweat will drop in your eye, in your mouth, like it's crazy. So, I feel like wearing a mask after doing that is kind of like frivolous, but it is very weird. Some dude's feet is in your face. Yeah. I mean, it genuinely, guys, SARS-CoV-2 is still in a pandemic, and long COVID is real. So long COVID, if you develop COVID-19 symptoms, about 20% of people develop long COVID, and that's brain fog, that's neurodegeneration. We should, as a culture, we should have been masking way more hardcore. We never locked down. We have to be serious about that compared to other countries. We never took each other's public health seriously. We didn't mass vaccine. We didn't do anything. So I feel like, we have to, yeah. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, I know, man. It's like, I think that, like, honestly, ethically, morally, should probably be vegetarian too, but I'm not. So it's just, I'm not a perfect person. You know what I mean? Yeah. I got picked on for your freckles. How do you get rid of yours? I don't see that. I have everywhere. I have freckles everywhere on my body, man. They're like everywhere. Was one vaccine and a booster enough? No, you should be getting a vaccine, COVID vaccine every year. So get your flu, get your COVID at the same time, get it done. Dang. Yeah, it's yeah. Oh my gosh, Jody, your little one lost 30% of lung volume. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's awful. Oh my gosh, energy works to you. I'm so sorry. 4th time. That's awful. Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, Melting, you're right. I mean, it's just, you're right, man. I mean, so it's just, What are you gonna do, man? I minimize like myself. We do food delivery. We don't go to marketplaces. And I just go to jujitsu and come back, and it's, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Melting. You're right. You're not wrong at all. I agree with you. Is the flu vaccine necessary, or do you prioritize COVID vaccine? Do them both. Yeah, there's no reason to stop. Just do them both. Yeah, you should. Yeah, you should just get them both. Oh, dude, Reformed Son, this guy. You gotta block this guy. How do I ban this guy? I'll have to figure that out. I don't know how to do it. I'm trying to find how to do it. I can't add them. Okay, cool. Thanks for, dude. Yay. Reformed Son, the guy that did the weird cringe shit is gone. Good job. Good job, everyone. All right. Thank you. Thank you for NOEMS. All right. Yeah, thanks for queuing up again, dude. That was nice of you. So I could get your name. Everyone, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for everything. It was a really good stream. I am 38. Yeah, I'm 38. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Gloomy. Appreciate you. One more time, guys. Just one more time. How do you guys like the top of the ad, the top of the ad read? I hope I don't want it to be obnoxious. I really don't, but I don't want to be too much. But I looked at the stats, and it's like people are normally here for like five minutes. So it's like I was like, oh no, I need to like do some like capturing in order to get people. So okay, thanks, Jen. If it ever gets annoying, let me know, for real. And I don't want to, but I wanted to do it like at the top of every hour. So just every hour. Okay, sweet. Thanks, guys. Okay, well, this is the last one. Sorry, Garrett, we're going away. Thank you guys, top gifters for the night. Jen, Sheepadoodle, Ducray, Dr. T, Nico, thank you guys so much. Remember to follow. If you like the stream, the best way that you can give back is to subscribe. Be cool like Jen, guys. Look at Jen. She's the coolest. If it's one like or 1,000 likes or 10,000 likes, I mean, thank you guys so much. That's just crazy. Linktree's got my $5 super chats. We got Discord links, which have all my show notes, all the science articles we went over, all the ideas. I'm usually, when we're talking about something, I'm bringing it up too. So I'm bringing up, whatever we're talking about. Michael had his Substack, so I put the Substack link in there. So that's how you can really follow along all the primary sources, and we're discussing science on there. And all of the archives of all these lives, I upload them immediately to YouTube. And I don't know, it's actually been wild. I have no idea, but the YouTube archives are getting like 50 views. I have no idea what is happening, but yeah, they actually get like 30 to 50 views right now. I'm like blown away. I have no idea why. It's very cool. And then also my publications are all on there. So you can, no paywall, read my science. Thank you, dude. Thank you guys for liking so much. That's so cool. Thank you. Thank you for pushing it. All right, guys. That's it. Same time, same bat time, same bat channel. What's the science thing that we could do? Same microbe time, same microbe channel. Does that work? I think that works. It was a really fun stream. I'm excited to do it again tomorrow. 9 p.m. PST. Kids go to bed at 8. So I quickly get everything all situated, get everything, walk the dogs, and then come and do this with you guys. It's been fun. It's always fun. This is such a cool addition to my life, and I am so happy to be here with you guys. Yeah, sure. In the future, I don't see why not. But anyway, guys, this is it for real. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Vaccines are safe and effective. Get your boosters. Get your vaccines. Get your COVID shots. Get your flu shots. Get all the Tdap you can. Get all the vaccines you can get before they get made illegal or something ridiculous. So 110,000. It's insane. I can't believe it. It's so cool. Jody just doing so much work. Incredible. Jen, unbelievable. I love it. Thank you guys. Genuinely. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Be kind. Do something nice for someone. See ya.